Hi everyone. Hi. Hi
Hello.
everyone. Hi. Welcome to the 11th episode of INIT Talks. So, by the way, Sap, yeah, so at the start of the stream, I just pressed live button. I forgot to put the opening screen, so you saw me and Artemis having a chat, but it's okay. That's behind the screen, guys, behind the yeah.
We were vibing. It's
We're just
fine.
vibing. We're just vibing here, and no more audio struggles. Yes, no more audio struggles. So me and Artemis, basically, we always had this audio problem in our stream, and people just call us pro AM streamer at this point.
Yeah.
Anyway, hello everyone. Hello Bob. Bob, hi. Sap, hi. Thank you so much for joining today's episode of INIT Talks. So we have to start the stream a little bit later than usual because our guest of the day, Artemis, you can do it at this hour. So it's not like she's not available basically during the afternoon time. So Artemis, how's it going? How are you doing? How are you doing today?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm good, just a bit tired. A lot of
Yeah, I
work
feel
and
that.
stuff. Yeah. And you also, right? You just got back home from work, I think.
Yeah. Unfortunately, streaming is not my full-time gig yet, so I still have a
Ah,
full-time job, so I'm like working in the lab during the week.
that's so cool. Yeah, I saw your Insta story sometimes, like you're taking pictures at the lab. What?
Yeah.
Okay, can you tell me a bit about your job before we talk more about gaming and sim racing?
Sure. So I've been working at a children's hospital near me for about 2 years now,
Mm-hmm.
mostly in the research labs and whatnot, but I just transferred labs. So before I was working for a very specific research lab within the neurology division,
Mm-hmm.
but now I've shifted more into the translational science core. So I'm basically
Wow.
working with all of the labs that are there at the hospital and helping them with their different research projects, running their samples, all kinds of fun stuff. So I'm still in training for that. So like,
Oh my god,
there's
that's
certain
so
things where
cool.
like I can't leave super early, whereas my other job, like I was fully
Right.
trained. Like if I needed to come in early so I could leave early, like that was a little bit more doable.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, right now I'm kind of tethered to the training schedule.
Wow, that's so cool. By the way, hello, Screaming Cheese! Welcome to INIT Talks with me, Elz, and Artemis, my dear friend, my sim racing friend. Hello! So, Screaming Cheese and Sep. So, Artemis just told us a little story about herself. Like, so basically, Artemis is a part-time streamer, basically, right? You're not like,
Yeah, for right now.
mm-hmm, right.
Sometimes I'm crazy and I try and do full-time both, but
Oh god, that's a lot. So I have like a day
yeah.
job also, and it's so hard to keep up with your stream schedule. Like you cannot do like 5 hours stream a day. It's too much, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, or if you do, then you're like sabotaging your sleep for the night and then you're tired at your day job the next
Yeah,
day.
yeah,
So,
yeah. True, true. And any plan of being a full time streamer in the future, or
I mean, yeah, if the opportunity like arose, I would definitely make the switch. But
right,
yeah,
right.
we'll see.
Yeah, because at least for me, because I'm streaming too, and I have this job as a content creator, and now I have a day job as well. So I'm doing like three jobs at a time, and
Yeah.
you really need to certain like to reach like a certain point in streaming to make a switch on your job. Like for example, like if you can make like $3,000 a month,
hmm
you can consider yourself about maybe it's time for me to become a full-time streamer, something like that.
Yeah.
So that's the story, kids. So streaming is a hard job. I think for
It
me
is.
it it really like requires you like a lot of patience, a lot of time, and I feel like it's not everybody can become a big streamer, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of streamers out there, and
hmm
only few that can actually like make it, like can have like hundreds viewers in one time in one stream.
Yeah.
Hi, Elo! Oh my god, it's Elo. Hi! Elo!
Melody,
Elodie,
hello.
hi! Welcome to Indie Talks. Oh my god, very nice to have you here today. Very nice to have you here today. Hi, hi! So, Artemis, so yeah, outside your day job, this job at the lab, are you just streaming and competing in esports team, or are you like
Yeah.
making content also?
Kind of a little bit of both. I have been on a bit of a hiatus for the last few months, because I'm in the midst of planning my wedding. I also bought a
Oh,
house, so like there's a lot of things going on.
oh my God, that's a
So I've had
lot.
to take a little bit of a step back. But I'm looking forward to getting back into it very soon.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, yeah. So for right now, it's been just like focusing whatever spare time I have has been dedicated to like training in the sim, and then I was like, well, when I can get back to streaming, I can get back to streaming. So
Right,
yeah.
right, right. Yeah, I see your Discord status. Like most of the time, I see you like checking that telemetry, the telemetry app.
Yes, yeah. I literally still have the telemetry app open because I was running laps last night and I just never closed it. I just like got up and I was like, all right, time for bed. And I was probably gonna run some more laps tonight, so
Oh,
yeah,
really?
that's fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Wow. That's wow. I adore
Yeah.
you so much. Like you work at the lab, which is for me that is really cool. And you do like you spend like most of the time at the lab, you can say.
Yeah, 40 hours a week. So
40 hours a week, yep. And a
yeah.
bit of training behind and yeah. So tell
Yeah.
me about your training method. Like do you always like back and forth, going back and forth doing the drive and then look at the telemetry and
Yeah, so like when I first started, I really was like kind of like how I feel like everybody else starts out, where like you just sit there and you grind like a bunch of laps just back to back to back, trying like hoping that you're gonna figure something out. But then as I've been more into the Red Bull training program and also working with some friends like Seb, who's in chat,
hello.
I've really like learned how to like read the telemetry and have that be useful to me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really helped me like shift my training to being, instead of spending hours just hitting the track, doing the same thing over and over again, I can look at the telemetry and figure out like specific points to focus on instead of just like a whole lap. So it makes it
Right.
a bit easier to kind of narrow your training, and it makes everything more efficient. So
Right, right. And how
Seb,
much
I'm
time
not
do you have?
lying.
Just lying. Self-learning, self-learning.
Yeah.
So how much time do you have for practicing for training every day?
Um, it's really hard right now. I really try and make like at least, I would say, an hour, like at least during the weekdays. Obviously my weekends are a bit more free, if I'm not like running any leagues or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, so I would say during the week I try and get on for like an hour whenever I can and really just try to focus on like at least one issue that I've noticed,
Mm-hmm.
so that I'm putting that hour to good use. And then on the weekends, if I'm doing like any type of training where it's like longer, I'm usually running some laps, looking at telemetry, and then I also like practice like different aspects of preparing for a race. So like doing qualifying practice or trying to come up with different strategies like in my head before I get to the race because we all know how panic decisions usually don't
Yeah,
play out very
true.
well. So,
Facts. That's a fact
yeah.
right there. Yeah. So you're practicing for your race pace and also for your qualifying pace. So you're
Yeah.
oh, I see. And how do you
Mhm.
practice for the quali? Give me like a simple example for that.
Yeah, so it really depends on the sim that you're on, I feel like. At least with like F1, like when I'm in F1, like I'm basically running like I'll set up like a race with AI and I'll
Mm-hmm.
like run the qualifying as if it's going to be run like on like for the league race. So if they do like the full qualifying, I'll do all the sessions of qualifying and then I'll just restart the race so I can do qualifying again. Like I won't run the whole race that I set up
Right,
afterwards.
right, right.
And then like if it were something more like iRacing or something, usually like I'll just practice doing an out lap, a hot lap, and then an in lap, and then I'll just like restart that.
Restart.
So like really getting used to like not really pushing the car too much when the tires are cold, then pushing once everything's a bit warmed up, and then just taking it easy coming back into the pits.
Right,
So yeah.
right. So are you in iRacing? Are you running a different setup for quali and race setup?
Ideally, I
Why
don't.
are you laughing?
I so right now, like I've just been running the same
Mm-hmm.
setup only because like I am not like super knowledgeable on like setting up the car by
Mm-hmm.
myself. I'm usually getting input from other people, or like having different like already have some like setups that are loaded, obviously into the
Mm-hmm.
sim, so I might bounce back and forth with that. But
Right.
when it comes to like setups right now, I'm more focused on tweaking my actual race setup. because like at least in my opinion, like if you have a really crap quality, but you know you have decent like race pace and you have a setup that works for you that gives you confidence, then you can make up a lot of time and positions during the race.
Right.
Obviously, like some people just have bad days and they don't have the best qualifying ever, so you
Yeah.
can definitely make up for it in the race. So that's what I've been focusing on. Then I'm like, eventually I'll get into the where I can be like, oh, I can tweak this for quali or tweak that for quali.
Right.
But yeah,
Right.
so.
Yeah, I don't understand a lot about the card setup also. Like normally I just load the setup. Like I have this setup from Coach Dave because I'm partnering with Coach Dave Academy. So I'm just load the
Yeah.
setup. I even run the race setup in the quali. Like I don't care. As long as I feel
Yeah.
comfortable. Like I feel confident with this setup. I know how to drive with this setup. So I don't care.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the reason why my eye rating is going up and down, Seth. Like maybe I should care more about things from now on. Like really.
I mean,
And
I feel like it's a toss up though, because the other thing, like the biggest factor I would say, like in terms of setup, is like your confidence with it. Like you could
right.
get a setup that everybody's like, oh yeah, this is the fastest setup. This really works for this track. But like if it doesn't give you confidence to really push the car, then you're not gonna get the same time out of it as somebody else. So like
Right.
I feel like confidence is a huge thing that like people overlook when it comes to setups.
As long, yeah, for me, as long I feel confident with the car, the track, to the point that I don't need to think about how to drive the car, then I'm good to go. That's how
Yeah.
I practice normally, like to reach the level where I feel confident enough to throw myself into the race, and I don't have to think about where to brake and what, oh no, what do I do? Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it got me thinking, how did you get into sim racing?
Yeah, so I was one of those kids way back in the day who had a PS2 Slim, and I had Gran Turismo. I think I want to say at the time it was Gran Turismo 3, but I could be remembering incorrectly. But I actually had one of those wheels that like stuck to a table with like suction cups. And every time I would go to turn, the whole wheelbase would come off the table. So like it was certainly not ideal, but like it worked, I guess.
If it works,
So
it works.
yeah, so like I usually bounce back and forth between using that like kind of janky wheel back in the day, and like an actual controller. So I honestly started out with that, and then for a while, like I've always played the Gran Turismo franchise, and then when I got older, I was like, you know what? I have like adult money now. Let me get a whole sim rig because that looks really fun.
Oh my god.
So I got this sim rig that I'm sitting in about 2 years ago or so when Gran Turismo 7 was just being released. And I was like, I'm going to give this a go for Gran Turismo's release and I'm going to give it a
Oh.
shot. And then everything just kind of went crazy from there. So yeah, that's pretty much how I got into it.
So before you bought like the whole rig, the whole setup, you're just like playing it like casually, or
Yeah.
were you like
Yeah,
already
I mean
become
like
competitive?
yeah, I was always like a very competitive person. But it was more like, you know, on the PS2 days, it was like I was trying to beat my dad's times, like because he would play with me and like, or if my brother would play with me, I'd be trying to beat his times. But like I wasn't necessarily looking to be like the fastest ever, just like beating the people who were playing with me.
Right,
Which,
right.
you know, it fared kind of well, but yeah, and then once I like saw the online part of like GT7 and everything, I was like, "Oh man, here we go. Now there's a whole leaderboard to go up against."
Uh-huh.
So that was definitely more at the forefront.
So you're coming from the family who's into racing, into yeah, basically into motorsports.
Yeah, I would say my dad was definitely a bit more heavily into it, whereas my
Nice.
mom, she was a fellow NASCAR enjoyer, so
Wow, interesting.
yeah. Yeah, which is kind of ironic because I like low key hate driving in ovals, but
But your
it's
mom is
fine.
like the NASCAR enjoyer. I love turning
Yes,
laps.
like she loves it.
I can go to a racetrack with your mom. Like
Yeah, there you go. She went to Daytona in
wow.
Florida and she like was able to like walk on the track and she conveniently went without me,
Oh,
which I'm still upset about to this
why
day.
didn't She didn't invite you to Daytona.
No, okay. So we were all going to Florida for a gymnastics competition that I had years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and she flew in a day early, and she decided, "Oh, I'm gonna go to this, like, I'm gonna go to Daytona and do their like museum and the track walk." And then like I literally
What?
flew in later that night, and I missed the whole thing. I'm still upset about it.
You missed the whole race. You
Yeah,
missed the whole
I could
race.
have. There's like 2 weeks during the entire year where you can
Mm-hmm.
actually like walk on the track at Daytona, and it
What?
just so happened to be those 2 weeks that
Oh my
we
god.
were going.
Oh my
So I'm
god.
like even more mad that I was like, dude, it's like the 2 weeks out of the 52 in the year, and I wasn't able to go.
Maybe next
Yeah,
year. Next year.
yeah,
How about
I'm
you,
planning.
me, and Sierra? Do you know Sierra? Sisi, the oval driver?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
she lives in Florida also, and I think she
Oh
always go to
heck yeah.
Daytona 500. So maybe we can plan a trip next year to Daytona 500. Why not?
Heck yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah. Oh my God. Imagine guys meeting your friends at the track, like someone that you met on internet through video games, and then you're planning an IRL meetup right now. It's the most amazing part about being in the sim racing community for me.
Yeah, it
Reva!
really is.
Oh my god, it's Reva! Reva!
Reva!
Hi, Reva! Reva, hi! Welcome, welcome to INIT Talks. And yes, we have a special guest, a very special guest, Artemis. It's so hard to invite her, so we had to change the
Yeah, they had
time.
to really shift the time and everything for me.
Yeah, but it's okay. I'm so glad we make it happen right now, and I'm so
Yeah.
happy to have her in INIT Talks. Screaming cheese, Cece! Oh my god, that's a lot of Sierra emotes. That's a lot.
I love
Cece.
it.
Love it.
That's a vibe.
Yeah, so Cece is like a main oval driver, and I can tell she's like one of the best oval driver in the United States in iRacing. Like she's the best.
Yeah,
Like
I've watched a couple of her races and it's like it's crazy. There's
oval
so
is
many
crazy.
shenanigans in an oval. Like I don't know how she like stays calm through half of it because I would just be tweaking like the entire time.
Have you
Like
ever tried racing in oval in iRacing or never?
I did the trucks. About 2 seconds in, there was 3 cars airborne, and I was like, "What is happening?" Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
and
interesting.
yeah, that was
I only did a
interesting.
couple races after that, and then I was like, "Yeah, that's not for me." But occasionally on stream, I'll go back to it just for like funsies and like for the
Mhm.
entertainment factors. So,
Yeah, oval is actually for me. Oval really teach you to avoid all the cars. So like if you
yeah,
if you know how to drive in oval, even if you don't have to be like the very best in oval, but if you do it like regularly and you throw yourself back into road racing, all the crash in road is like nothing compared to oval. Like you will,
yes.
yeah, that's super crazy.
Yeah, very rarely in road racing do you have to dodge like trucks literally flying. Like
Yeah.
that was a new one for me. I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah,
I was like screaming on stream, just trying to like dodge here and there, and like
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
trucks are super unstable, so I was also trying not to like launch myself in the process. It
Yeah,
was-
and especially
yeah.
like people in oval is like running on a high speed. So when the crash happened, it's like always a big crash, especially
Yeah,
like
I saw one of the trucks just like launch itself off of like the gate up on the side and then back all the way over into the pit lane. And I was like, what is happening?
Yep. Oh my god, if you see a lot of video, there's a lot, tons of video on YouTube about the crash in iRacing in oval, and that's crazy. Oh
Yeah.
hey, we're talking about oval, and we have oval driver joining the chat. Hi Aaron.
Hey. Hi, Aaron.
Hi Aaron. There's no point in making right turns in racing. What do you mean? So, what do you mean? Doing road racing is also fun, Aaron. You're just bad at it, so that's why you're hating it. So you should learn from my dear friend.
Dang.
What's up, all? Hi, Aaron. Very nice to have you here today. Welcome to INIT Talks with me and my dear friend Artemis. So,
Good.
Artemis, then wait. All this time, I thought you're starting from F1, but you
Mm,
originally started from Gran Turismo, then you moved to F1.
yeah.
Huh. What makes you change from Gran Turismo to F1 or to
I
iRacing?
mean, I've always loved road racing. That's definitely something that I still love and I still like to do in iRacing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I've also really like I tried out F123 and I was like, dang. this is actually kind of cool. I like the F1 cars. I was getting more into like F1, high downforce. And then Red Bull had posted about their Rock the Rig competition. And
Oh, yeah,
like,
that one.
Seb can also attest to this because he helped me out a bit. But like, when I tell you, I downloaded, like, I had that game, I barely played it. I prepped like literally every day after work for probably 4+ hours, just logging laps, having him help me with telemetry and trying to find places that I could like improve upon things. Because I like really wanted to give the Rock the Rig program a try. I was like, listen, chances are I'm not gonna make it, but if I do, it's free to enter. Like, I might as well give it a shot. So the first, like, every round, basically, you would have to submit like lap times through telemetry. So like, there was no way that anybody could be like cheating or editing their lap time. Like, it was literally submitted directly from the game to Red Bull through the server. So that was really nice.
Right.
And then that way you didn't have to worry about logging anything. Like, you could just focus on running on running your laps. And then at the end of the week, they would pick the top 20 times for like the fastest times on that track. So the first round was on Monza, which, if anybody has been to my stream, me and Monza have a love-hate relationship, and it's more hate than love, which is ironic considering I'm very Italian. But yeah, so like, I was just logging laps and laps and laps, and I was at work at the hospital, and I got the email that I was in the top 20, and I was like, I may have girl bossed a little too close to the sun.
Oh my
This
God.
is like terrifying.
Oh
So
my
then
God.
I had to literally like tell my work, I was like, yeah, I have like a doctor's appointment on next Friday, so I have to like leave early because the race was literally at like noon my time, because it was at 5 p.m. their time. And I was like, great. So I was just like, yeah, I have to like go and get to a doctor's appointment. And so I was running on in the race, and like, they had also specifically said to us, like, listen, if you're racing, you're within the top 20, like, we're not looking for the people who are number one, number two. Because each round they were selecting 2 people to be part of the like development program. So it was really nice that they weren't like, hey, first and second place automatically gets in, because then you know, might have people that are trying to like be over aggressive or like not really focus on the race, but more focus on like their finishing position. So instead, Red Bull was like, you know, we're going to be looking at a lot of different things, like your adaptability, like your qualifying pace, like how you're approaching things, like your strategizing. So like, they were looking for a lot of different things like beyond just where you qualified and where you finished. Which I thought that was really nice, because then it's like, you know, it takes a little bit of the pressure off of like performing the way that you want during the race. And I was I was so prepped, and then like literally like 4 laps in, I just spun, and I was like, I'm gonna die.
This is it.
I was
This is
so
it.
upset. I was so upset. I was like, I literally have been grinding every day. I'm so tired. Like 2 weeks straight of just prep. And I was like, I'm so tired. And then I just spun. I was like, I just threw whatever chance I had out the window. I was like, no. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to have to like deal with it and just push it out of my mind and finish the race. And I managed to climb back up to 4th. So, and I was like, okay, well, I mean, at least there was a recovery drive kind of thing going for me there.
Recovery. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like,
my
okay, could be worse. But yeah, so that was really interesting. And then I had to like wait like I think it was an entire week before they like actually told us like who was selected. And like by some miracle, I was one of the 2 selected in that round. And I was like, oh, it was like a sigh of relief, because I had already started prepping for the next round in case I didn't get in. So I was like trying to not focus on like whether or not I was going to be selected. And I was like, I just need to run these laps. I need to prep.
Right. Just
But
do your
yeah.
best. Like, oh, okay, it is what it is. It is what it
Yeah.
is. But
Yeah.
in the end, you got selected, right? As
I
the-
did.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and it
How
has
did you
been
feel?
such a whirlwind since then.
Yeah, how did you feel? And
Oh
how
my
did that
gosh.
change your life? Like,
Yeah,
in
like,
terms of studying and
honestly,
stuff?
Yeah, like I would say like at least like when I first got like the email that I was selected, I was like, what's happening? This is not real. Like it never
Mm-hmm.
really settled in for me for like a while. Because they were also like still doing the other two rounds because there was 3 rounds total. So I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like watching each round. I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like I get to see like if there's anybody else that are like getting selected, and I was just kind of
Mm-hmm.
chilling. And then like they also asked me to commentate like
Oh
one of
yeah.
the rounds with Ash, and I was like, LOL, BRB,
Wow.
gonna go fangirl because like Ash is like one of my idols, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
she is.
that's crazy. I'm like, also I'm gonna sound like an absolute fool, whereas she commentates on the regular.
Yeah,
But it was
Ash,
actually like a
she's
lot of
amazing.
fun. Yeah, it was so much fun. I was like, I was so glad that I didn't like say no and I actually did it, because like getting out of your comfort zone is like a huge aspect to like,
Mm-hmm.
growing and doing new things.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like it was like kind of crazy. And then in December, they had invited the 6 of us that were selected out to the Red Bull factory in the UK. Um,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So that was
What? They fly you to
insane.
all the way to the UK? Wow.
Yes, yeah. So we did like they called it like the accelerator day, and it was basically like the
Mm-hmm.
kickoff to the program for the 6 of us. So we all flew out there, and then they gave us like a tour of the whole factory, which was insane. We
Wow.
also did like a bit of like it was more of like a media day too, like at the same
Mm-hmm.
time because they were like filming us. They did like a whole promotional video. We did like interviews on camera.
Mm-hmm.
There was like 2 video clips that were like posted to like the Red Bull Racing account, and I almost
Oh,
died because I was like,
yeah.
cool, my face is in a thumbnail on like the Red Bull account.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
casual.
That's like really that is
Yeah,
sick.
it was crazy.
Yeah.
And then we also had like 4 to 5 hours of just training on the
Hmm.
sim with 2 of their top esports drivers.
Mm-hmm.
So Sebastian Job, if anybody
I
knows, I'm
heard
sure you
his
do.
name, I think,
Yes.
somewhere.
He
Yeah.
was he I think he just won the Porsche Carrera Cup on iRacing, if I'm
Mm,
not mistaken.
nice.
And then they also had Jed Norgrove, so he's on AlphaTauri, or well now
Oh.
Visa Cash App RB, I suppose, but
Mm-hmm.
for their
Oh,
F1
so
esports team.
with lots of pro drivers. So you were training with the
Yeah.
pro. Did you learn a
Yes.
lot from it?
Yeah, honestly, like I was
Like
Seb
something
gave
that.
me a couple of pointers, and like it was like such minor things that like he was watching, he said that my basics were really good, which I was like, okay, try not to die, because like I've
Yeah.
always been hard on myself about my basics, and like he
Uh-huh.
literally complimented them, and I was like, "Oh, okay." And then
Right.
like he just gave me the slightest little suggestion on how to like get the F1 cars to like rotate, and it just like clicked, and I found like a second in like my lap time on Red
Mm.
Bull Ring in like less than an hour. I was like, this is insane.
Hmm.
I mean, I think it was also partially like, at the factory they have all the top equipment as well. So
Mm-hmm.
whereas at home I don't have load cell pedals, like,
Oh.
but they had like the full out ones that are like they have the force feedback, the whole nine.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that really helped like at least me with like feeling the car, because I still was at a point with F123 where I like felt very disconnected from it.
Right.
So yeah, so having that guidance was like insane.
The power of an engineer. In this case, a driver who could also be an engineer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wish one day I will get a chance to train with the pro, so the pro can see what's the problems in me, problems with us. That's a lot.
I wouldn't say it's problems. It's more just not always having the right like knowledge
Mm-hmm.
base for certain things. Like obviously like the pros are the pros because they've learned a lot more things than a lot of people who are like at the lower levels. Like we're still in like learning stages. I'm still in learning
True.
stages, and I'm sure that even Sebastian Job is still learning things every single day. So
Yeah.
it's definitely something where it's just like, oh, you just get some more knowledge, and then once you learn that, then you can build upon that. You have the building blocks. So
Yeah, and I feel like in sim racing we really need to. Oh, like it's more like you need to gain a lot of experience, like on the track. Speaking about the racecraft and everything, and to get there, I feel like we need to throw ourselves into the race as much as we can. So like we're gaining experience. What do you mean, Aaron? The
Yeah.
problem with Elz, geez, this could take a while. What do you mean? I'm not a problematic sim racer. What do you mean? What do you mean? I'm not a problematic sim racer. Shh. This is my professional time, Aaron. Let me be a professional in this talk show, Aaron. So, but so by the way, Artemis. So after that, that event in the UK, you're flying back to your home. You're in New Jersey, right? Correct me if
Yeah.
I'm wrong. Yeah. So you
Yep.
fly back to New Jersey, and what was next? Like, do you still have like this training program happening until now, or how does it work?
Yeah, yeah. So, we are still training to this day. We have
Hmm.
team tests and whatnot that are scheduled. So the six of us, we basically like Red Bull lays out a training program, and they're like, okay, this week you're gonna focus on this track. This week you're gonna focus on that track.
Ah,
And then they
nice.
have other certain tasks. I don't want to say too much because I don't know what I
Right.
can say and what I can't say.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have everything like laid out for us. And then we have different things where we're like working together with things. There's other things where we're submitting things like individually and they're reviewing it and giving us feedback. So we've been figuring out how everything's going to work now with F124. As
Ah.
anybody who has played it may know, there was initially physics released with the game, and then they did a physics update, so things are a bit more different now. I personally like the physics a lot, but maybe that's just me. But yeah, so it's like we're kind of like in a little bit of a limbo right now, but we're still all in a bunch of leagues because they also want us to be in leagues so they can gauge like our progress beyond
Right.
just like lap times. So yeah, I know Elodie is in a league with me. She's going to be doing the Summer Cup with INIT Esports.
Oh.
So yeah, so that's one of the ones that I'm doing, and then I have another one that's on Tuesday nights. So every Tuesday and
Yes.
Saturday I'll be league racing in F1. So
Oh my god. Good luck, by the way, for your summer cup. I'll be
thank
joining.
you.
I'll be joining a
Yay!
bit, but it's not like, don't worry. I'm not a very pro in F1, and I'm still learning in F1, like still trying to get used to it, like how the physics and how the sim works in general, because I feel it's a bit different from my main sim, so I need to
Yeah.
adjust. I need some time. And
No, it's very, very different.
what about you? Like, is it hard for you to switch between, for example, between F1 and iRacing, back and forth? Do you find it difficult?
I wouldn't say it's not like it's not too difficult for me. It definitely takes a bit of a like adjustment. That's for sure.
Right.
Like say if I'm focusing on F1 for like an entire week and that's all I've been doing, and then I'm like, hey, let me jump on some iRacing and just like get into some road racing races. I can definitely do that, but I need at least probably an hour or so just to like run some time trial or practice sessions just to get used to how the cars handle again. Because I've noticed like sometimes I just like jump in like a GT3 and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna drive it like an F1 car. Like you certainly cannot do that.
Yep, yep, yep.
So it usually teaches me pretty quick when I'm like into the wall and I'm like, okay, never mind, we're gonna take a step back. But yeah, it's definitely takes me a decent amount of time to like get up to pace again, like jumping back into the group threes. If I've been spending time on F1 and like same with vice versa. Like if I'm really adjusted to group threes, then sometimes I find it a little bit difficult to like really push the F1 car and like extract everything out of it that I can. Because you can push the F1 cars a little bit harder, but there's also that finer line of like, everything. So,
Right. And what's your favorite series in iRacing, in road racing?
ooh, I don't even know if I have a favorite series, but one thing I have been really into and doing a lot more is the endurance races, like on the
Oh.
special events calendar. So that's been really fun. I've been jumping around with a bunch of different groups of people and just like working with a bunch of different people just to see like their styles, their approach to things, and it's like really taught me a lot. And it's something that I'm hoping to keep doing. So
Yeah.
definitely, I'm looking to get into some more endurances in the very near future.
I'm into that. I'm really looking forward to see you back on streaming, back on track, because
Yes.
normally I see you, I see like your tiny picture on my Twitch, like, oh, she's streaming, oh, Jamie is streaming, everyone's streaming,
Yeah.
but I don't see you anymore. You're like just disappeared.
I
You
know.
and
I
Cleo.
know. It's bad. It's bad. Yeah, I mean, most of it for me has been like moving. Like now that I have
Yeah.
like my rig set up, my thank God you guys can't see my wires over here because it literally looks like spaghetti all over my floor. Like cable management is currently not a thing, and I hate it, but we're
Yeah,
getting somewhere.
I hate it.
But yeah, like definitely getting back into it will be good, I think.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a good amount of room for taking some rest and relaxation and like taking that step back so you can really come back at it full force. But yeah, I think I'm at the end of that rest stage. I'm getting the itch to get going again.
Back on track, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to race with you this Saturday.
Yeah.
So Saturday, 8 p.m. CST. So what time is it for me? Whoa! The first round is Jeddah, right? I'm just gonna
Yeah.
turn the racing line on, I think. I'm just gonna let you drive. Seb, if you hear this, I'm sorry, Seb. I promise to you I will change in the next round, Seb. So any tips for me and everyone who wants to start playing F1? Turn the racing line off or what?
I mean, okay, so like I would say like if you're first getting into it and you don't really know the tracks yet, I would definitely say like having the line is useful, but I wouldn't use the full line. I would only use the corners only. Because in that way you kind of see where the breaking points are. But then once you get to the point where you're kind of used to it, you're like realizing what corner's coming up next and you're getting that like mental picture of the track in your head. That's when you know like it's time to turn it off. Because the last thing you want to do is get really dependent on the lines. They're useful for learning, but you don't want to get dependent on them because then, like, especially say you're doing like a league race and you're dependent on the line, you obviously could have the line on if the league allows it. But then the issue comes that you're looking for that line instead of being aware and looking around you, making sure that you're positioning your car the way that it's supposed to be. If you're trying to overtake people, you might get a little bit overwhelmed because you're trying to look for the corner, but then you're also trying not to run somebody off track. So yeah,
Never
that
do
would be.
I never do that. Never.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, I noticed the one thing when I got into F1 is like, I was at first very overwhelmed with all the things. Like, I didn't think it was like, GT7 was very much like, you basically get in, you race. There's not much adjusting in the race. If there was like pit stops, it's like you can make the pit stop like adjustments like while you're in the pits. Whereas with F1, there's a lot of things in your MFD where you have to be cycling through, changing things like while you're driving on track. So yeah, like if you pick a strategy beforehand and you plan on sticking to it, then you probably don't really have to change too much. But at least with F1, like if there's also safety cars, then you might want to be like, oh, okay, well, I can get basically a free pit stop if I pit now and go onto a harder compound than I was planning on and then run it till the end of the race. So then if that's the case, the, strategy that you like preloaded wouldn't really apply anymore. So you have to like go through the menus and like change it on the fly, which I always get so freaked out about that. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to change it to the right tire. I'm like, I'm freaking out. And so it's like, that definitely takes some getting used to. But yeah, there's just a lot to F1, but it's great. I love it.
I will spend tonight and tomorrow practicing for my upcoming league race just for everyone's safety, Seb. For everyone's safety. And I promise to you, you will see me racing this Saturday in F1 with no racing line. And by the way, don't worry, Artemis, I only turn on the racing line for corners only. So I didn't turn on like the full. Just the corners, just the one.
Yeah, I mean, the full is not really like the most useful thing, to be honest. I mean, you really only need it for the corners anyway.
Yeah.
So
You're not going anywhere at the straight.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
Yeah.
I've been playing F1 games since 1996 and you still use the brake markers. Too stubborn to learn. As long as you're having fun.
If that's what you like, then that's great. It's just my opinion that like the line could get in the way, but also like if you're just playing for enjoyment and that's what you enjoy, like
as long as you enjoy
you
it,
do you.
exactly.
I'm here for it.
I mean, people recommend us to turn off the racing line, so like we can try to brake a little bit later, not try to follow the suggestion, something like that. But it doesn't.
Yeah, because sometimes the
on,
suggestion is a bit too early too. So like you don't
It's a
want to get into the
safe-
habit of like just like, oh, I see red, I'm just gonna brake when you could actually brake a bit later.
a little bit later, right? So are you using any assist in F1 or everything's off?
Nope, everything's off.
Wow.
I feel like it's been a little bit easier with like F124. Although I didn't have any assists on in F123 either.
Mm-hmm.
I just jumped straight into it, and I was like, I'm not using any assists, like driving assists whatsoever, because I was like, I'm gonna get dependent on it, and I don't want to be dependent
Right.
on it.
Right.
So I was like, I'm just gonna get in the car and just figure it out.
Hmm. It's hard
And
for me.
then,
Like I always
yeah,
lock my brakes. Like I will lock my brakes more in F1 than I'm in iRacing, and that's
yeah.
kind of unbelievable for me. So any tips for me or everyone here?
Yeah, so I would say at least for F124, with my experience with it so far, the brakes are definitely a lot more sensitive in my opinion. I when I first got onto it, I was like locking up everywhere. I was like, I forgot how to brake. Like that's how bad it was.
Huh.
So
Okay.
I would definitely say like you can kind of just like play around with things, like especially if you're learning a track, it's really useful too, because you can play around with the brakes until you figure it out for a corner and then kind of like move on to the next corner.
Mm.
So with F1 I've noticed that like full braking gets a little bit risky sometimes, although you need a full brake in order to trail brake.
Mm-hmm.
But F1 is where that trail braking skill really comes into play if you're not using like
Hmm.
ABS or anything like that. So like if you're noticing you're locking up, you can release some pressure off of the brake and then the wheels will start moving again and you'll get rid of that lockup.
Right.
So it's really just like I feel like it really comes down to time in the game, getting used to it, and just playing around with that break just to get used to like, oh, okay, if I feel this amount of lockup and if I release like 10%, the lockup goes away and I can just continue trail braking like normal.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely something that I've had to adjust to from coming from like GT3 racing and road racing because those cars tend to be a little bit more forgiving when
Yeah,
it
it's
comes to
more
that.
forgiving. It is.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just unbelievable for me because I drive a lot in oval car. Like I drive the Arca truck, and I even
Yeah.
drove the next gen in road course, the Cup car,
Hmm.
and I barely lock my brake. Well, in some case, yeah, it's locked, but okay. But most of the time, I feel like I know how to brake with the car that doesn't have ABS, who doesn't have any
Yeah.
assist. But in F1, it's just that I don't know. Yeah, like going into the corner,
Yeah.
first corner at Bahrain, I think, and I lock it up. Like I lock my door at night. So like,
Yeah.
bro, triple protection, bro. You
No,
know?
literally, like all the locks, like it's
Yeah,
bad.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, you're saying like F1 is like one of the best sim if you wanna master the trail breaking then.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you want it to be like as realistic as possible, obviously iRacing is your best bet.
Mm-hmm.
But if you really want to get like forced into like learning trail braking, then F1 might be the sim for you because if
Mm-hmm.
you take off ABS, you breathe on the on the brake pedal wrong and it's gonna lock up.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
so yeah, it's definitely finicky, but once you get used to it and you get to like feeling the car, it's like not too bad.
Hmm. And does it actually make you faster if you take out all the assists in F1?
I would say so, yeah. I mean, like, especially like if you even consider like, people could have like the gear shifting instead of it being manual, they could have it auto. But like if
Mm-hmm.
you're not able to engine brake, you're gonna have to brake earlier, and then therefore your time's gonna be slower.
Right, right.
So like even just like that aspect, or if you have ABS on, it might affect your braking, and then you're losing time there.
Mm-hmm.
And like anything like that. So when you have full control over everything, then obviously you can extract more out of the car because you're controlling everything.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have something else stepping in, it's kind of like anything that's out of your control could make you lose time.
Right, right. It's gonna be a big learning curve for me to
Hmm.
try out the F1, but I don't know. I mean, in the end, it's a game that I like playing racing games, so I'm like, it's a struggle, but I don't mind learning it
It's all,
because
yeah, I mean and it's all part of the challenge too. Like I think that's one of
exactly.
the things that also drew me to sim racing is that not only is there always a new challenge to chase, but there's also always new things to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm definitely somebody who really likes to learn things. So you throw me in a car I don't know how to drive, I'm going to learn how to drive it. Or if
Mm-hmm.
there's like a setup for it, I'm going to learn how to tweak the setup. So it's,
Right.
yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I think for me at least, sim racing is the only hobby that can lock me up into it because before this I have like different hobbies before I stuck in sim racing. Maybe because every day I feel like I'm learning something new, and every day is
Yeah.
like a new struggle, new challenge, and
Yeah.
it makes you
It
like,
keeps
I
it
don't know.
interesting.
Exactly. Like every day
Yeah.
you got something new to learn. Like, oh, I'm stuck at this track. Okay, okay, I will do better next time. So
Yeah.
I haven't feel bored overall. Like I think I'm like 4 years into sim racing. Like I started
Mhm.
during the pandemic era until now, but I'm
Nice.
just like 2 years into iRacing. So I'm pretty newbie in iRacing. But yeah,
Nice.
that's
Yeah, I'm like less than a year on iRacing.
but you did great. You did great. I remember
Yeah.
we had that three-way battle at Spa.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh my
me,
God, I
you,
was
and
so
just
stressed
one.
out during that because I was like, I barely know iRacing. This is so
Oh
bad.
yeah? Oh yeah? No, you
Yeah.
didn't look like you're someone who doesn't have any clue about iRacing to me. Like you're racing hard and the way you race to me it's like okay, she got experience in this, so okay, let's race. And I really enjoy our battle back then. Like okay, that
Yeah.
was so fun.
It was. It was
Yeah,
so
like
much
we were
fun.
like going three wide, like chasing each other, like you, me,
I
just
was
one.
scared the entire time.
We
I
were
was like,
racing.
oh God. I was like, please don't let me kill anybody or myself. I'm like, oh.
That
Because at
was
that
really
point, like, I
fun.
had raced a lot of like Group 3 cars on GT7, but obviously it feels very different in like iRacing. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
for me, it was like the confidence aspect wasn't fully there. So, like,
Oh.
I was pushing the car the way I know, but like, I was also getting to a point where I was like, ooh, I should probably back off a little bit because I'm just going to end up careening into a wall and
Uh-huh,
just getting
uh-huh.
so much damage that I'm going to have to retire.
Yeah,
So,
and iRacing is pretty punishing you with the damage. Like little touch and give you
yes.
at least 40 seconds, I think. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah, I know that's
remember.
the worst thing in endurance racing too, because we were like, there was one race that I did, we were, I want to say like 18 hours in,
Mm-hmm.
and we sent it into the wall by accident, because, you know, shit happens when you're like doing a 24-hour race and you're deliriously tired,
Yeah,
and
it
14
sucks.
minutes of damage in the pit. I was like,
Oh.
I was like, at what point do we call it, boys? Like,
Let's call it a day. Let's wrap it up and
yeah.
move on.
Yeah, it was like that's the biggest thing with endurance racing. It's hard.
It's a different game of it's a different gameplay for me, and I
Yeah.
personally I prefer the endurance because in endurance it requires you to be consistent and be patient. Like you're not
Mhm.
sending it in every corner. There's a lot of
Mhm.
things that you need to take care of. And looking at my driving, I don't think I'm an aggressive driver that can do a last to first challenge in 20 minutes race. So I feel like endurance kind of suits me better, you know. Like
Yeah, it's
I need to
nice because you can
train.
kind of relax a little bit, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
we might be a little bit further back in the grid, but we have 24 hours to move further up, and
Mhm.
it's like more like you said, it's more of a game of how consistent can I be
Yeah.
over that time period, because you know obviously if you're consistent, you're not throwing it into the wall, you're not getting any
Mhm.
major damage.
Mhm.
Anybody else, it's like sending it beyond like their comfort level with the car, and like say they
Yeah.
get damaged or they have an incident with another driver, like you're automatically making up time too because of the time they now have to sit in the pits.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's like it's huge. There's so many more aspects to strategy too in the endurance
Mhm.
races that it's just I love it.
Yeah, me too. So, which iris especially fun that you participate in the past, like the Emirates?
Um, oh, I'm trying to remember now. I think the last one I did was Sebring.
Oh, the Sibling 12?
Yeah.
Oh my
That
god.
one was crazy.
What
It
happened?
was so chaotic. It
What
was just
happened?
like I felt like we got into this race where it was just one thing after another. We kept getting stuck with these LMP2s that were just like sending it like crazy, and I'm like, dude, give me 2 seconds to finish this turn and I will literally just let you go.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
please do not. Like, and I have
yeah.
raced in the LMP2s and in the GT3s, so I'm also not
Wow.
one of those people that's like, oh, I'm a GT3 driver and the LMP2s are always trying to kill us. Like, no,
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen it from both angles, and like, I think it's really just the LMP2s. A lot of people like to take advantage of the fact that you can brake a bit later, it has a higher downforce,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just, I feel like whatever mistakes they might make in the Group 3s, they're also making in the LMP2s, but it's just a bit more aggressive and like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
noticeable.
Yeah,
Because I've had
that's
issues with GT3 drivers too, where they're just like, I'm not gonna give up on this corner, even though half of my bumper is like hanging off.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and I'm like, guys, come on, what's happening?
Hmm. That's also
Yeah.
what Law 46 says in the previous INIT Talks. So she really recommend everyone, if you want to do a multi-class race, LMP, GT3, you have to drive all the cars just to see like where you can take the corners, where you have
Mhm.
to wait and something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
And it's
yeah.
really just like coming down to like being predictable too, because like if you're predictable in your line, then the LMP2 is going to know where you're going, and
Mhm.
vice versa. If they're consistent and like predictable in their line, then you're going to know where they're probably going to go. So then you can kind of like position yourselves accordingly. Because we've definitely had some like really good battles too. Like obviously everybody has their issues, but we've had some
Mhm.
really good battles during the endurance races too, where we might be going back and forth to somebody for like 3, 4 laps in a row, and it's like that's when you really get like locked into it, and you have like
Mhm.
your teammates in your ear, and it's just like the whole
Yeah.
environment is just like great. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, by the way, hello, Gobi. Oh my God, Gobi. Sorry, I didn't see your chat. I was vibing real hard with
Toby, hello.
Artemis. Hi, Gobi. Very nice to have you here today. And by the way, oh my God, I saw your picture. Like you're driving a real car in real life. Oh my God, that is so cool. Oh my God,
Let's
congratulations
go.
for taking another step, another big step from sim racing now
Woo.
racing in real life. Oh my God, GG. And for Last Ninja Cow said GT7 is the best sim. Which one do you think is better, GT7 or GT Sport?
Um, I didn't play too much of sport because
Mm-hmm.
at the time I didn't really have a PlayStation because I like
Uh-huh.
bought the
Yeah.
PS5 also for GT7. But I did
Oh.
play a little bit of GT Sport before that came out.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, I would say like across all sims, like each sim has their like advantage, I would say. Like
Yeah.
GT7, the graphics top tier. Like
Yeah.
honestly, we were blessed with those graphics.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yeah,
are
yeah,
the
yeah.
physics exactly what they should be? Not really if you're looking for realism, but if you're just looking to like enjoy a game with good graphics and like decent handling physics, then like
Mm-hmm.
GT7 is great. If
Mm-hmm.
you want like, if you like the Simcade kind of thing that GT7 has going on, but you want more F1 cars, then F1 is great. If you
Mm.
want more realism, then ACC or iRacing is a great option
As an
too.
options. Right, right.
Yeah, so like every sim has their advantage and disadvantage, I feel like, but it really just comes down to like what you are looking for specifically in a sim that would make you enjoy it if there's anything like beyond just driving experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true. I mean, there's a lot of good player in Gran Turismo and there are a lot of
Hmm.
good player in iRacing also. And it's not like the pro player in iRacing, maybe they can play Gran Turismo but not as good as the pro player in Gran Turismo. So I believe like
Hmm.
every sim has its own advantage, disadvantage, and yeah, it's not that easy, I must say, like switching between sims and become pro at
Yeah.
everything. Like yeah,
Yeah.
it's just takes a lot of time to get used to it and to learn. That's how I feel. And
Yeah.
in my opinion, iRacing kind of. So at first, a lot of people, or I heard this from many people that iRacing is so hard. iRacing is really hard. It's a really hardcore sim, blah blah blah. You know. But once I got into it, it's harder because for example, like you really need to stop your car to hit the escape button. Meanwhile, in other sim, you can just hit the escape button and yeah, okay, that's the menu. But
Yeah.
to me, I feel like iRacing makes some things easier to understand or to feel. Maybe yeah, maybe that's why I kind of stick into it. Like there's something that
Yeah.
feels natural in the sim, like so
Yeah,
it's
I mean, I feel like it's that realism aspect. I mean, like in
yeah.
GT7, it's like I said, the physics are a bit different. So like sometimes like if I go back to driving GT7, like for
Mm-hmm.
me in a way, the physics feel a bit like muddy.
Mm.
I don't know if that's necessarily the right word for it, but it's very much like GT7 trains people to overdrive the car. Whereas
Mm.
iRacing, I feel like if you really want to be fast, you almost have to underdrive the car a bit because you really want to extract everything out of it. And I think that's more along the lines of like how real racing is. Like obviously there's not like all these people overdriving the car because I think we would see a lot more on track incidents and like just things going wrong in general.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I feel like the iRacing, like it's a bit easier. It makes sense to me that you would like see like how certain things are easier to like feel or like understand, because like if you're
Yeah.
not completely over driving the car, it gives you some time and like ability to really feel those things, which
Mm-hmm.
I think is really great. And I feel like everybody should give iRacing a try at some point.
Yeah, so that's why I'm super happy. Like, finally, we're having iRacing back on screen to speed. Like,
Yeah.
yay, finally! I was like, yay, finally! Because I play most on iRacing and I barely drive in other sims. So, if there was like a Gran Turismo event happening, well, it's just done like few weeks ago. And I was
Yeah.
like, I cannot play Gran Turismo if I want to play Gran Turismo. First, I need a new set of wheel because my wheel is just for PC and blah
Yeah.
blah blah. And so I'm a bad controller player in Gran Turismo. I don't know how to play with controller since I'm moving to steering wheel. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's wise to throw myself into a race when you have no clue about it and you're just gonna kill everyone on the track, like no.
Yeah, I feel like it's hard. Like after going to wheel, it's just such a different experience, and I feel like you get to the point where you're really connected to the car
Yeah.
through the wheel. So like
Hmm.
when you have like that controller in your hand, it's like it feels unnatural and you just feel so disconnected, and like
Yeah.
it's a lot harder for you to translate like, okay, I want the car to rotate this way or that way, and it's yeah, I
Yeah.
could never like when I
I
first was playing GT Sport, I was on controller for about 2 weeks, and then like once I got a wheel, I was like, never again.
Yeah,
Nope. Like
same.
if my wheel breaks, I'm not playing
I'm
because
not
like I
playing
can't.
it. Let's the controller doesn't exist. I don't know, I don't see it. So yeah, if the
Yeah,
wheel
it's like
broken.
somewhere over there. Like yeah,
I okay, so this is what Last Ninja Co said. GT7 lets you drive fast while iRacing teach you to drive fast. And
yes,
yes, I completely agree with
yes,
you on that. Like iRacing really teach you like from their like license and iRating, it really teach you to improve because as your iRating go up, like okay, I'm not good enough in this split, so I need to start practicing, finding out what's wrong with me, what's wrong with my driving or something like that. So other than the physics that feels really natural, I feel like iRacing is doing a fantastic job on, like training people online
yeah.
basically.
Yeah, they have great resources, and there's also like so many different programs that you can get to that
Yeah.
are like for telemetry, and like Trophy AI is one that I've used a couple of times, and like it's really
Mm.
helpful because it has like not only if you don't really know how to like read the telemetry, it also gives you like feedback on like, oh, hey, you're not breaking enough here, or you're breaking too much, or like it can give you like pointers on like where to improve without you necessarily having to read telemetry, but then has the bonus of the telemetry if you also want to look at that.
Yeah.
And it has like the overlays too, where you can have like the telemetry like live on your screen as you're
Mm-hmm.
driving, which for some
Yeah.
people could be a bit like distracting, but like I feel like once you really get to know a track too, and you're kind of like almost running on autopilot, you can kind of like be in the corner and be like, oh, okay, I see like that little blip there. I need to go back and look at that and like make like little
Mm.
mental notes to yourself. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's been really awesome being able to have like tools like that right at the fingertips that you can use.
Yeah. And what's your sim of choice? For example, like, okay, we all know that you're mainly like in F1 and before
Yeah.
this you're in Gran Turismo and recently you made a move to iRacing. So if you can pick
Mhm.
one of the sim, what would it be?
Honestly, I would pick iRacing. It's the most realistic.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just so many different things that you can do with it. So yeah, I think definitely at some point I want to try and get my foot into the door with like a bit more of like legit series beyond just like the special events. But
Mm-hmm.
that's a little bit far away for right now. I need to definitely hone some skills first before I attempt any of those.
You'll get there. You'll get there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
especially like we'll have the Screen to Speed Summer Cup coming up and I think the winner from the Winter Cup will also participate in this event. So
Nice.
it's crazy. Like so basically I know the person, Nina. So she's really good in all disciplines in iRacing. So if you look into her
Yeah.
profile, her license, she has basically like always racing in the top split. And for me it's nice to have a high iRating driver in your league race. So like
Yeah.
you can see what you need to do. Like
Yeah.
yeah, to improve, like a lot better than doing the officials, in my opinion. So league race is
Yeah.
like a great practice session for me, so I can improve my eye rating in officials. That's how I'm training right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the biggest things too is like if people are trying to get into like the competitive space and really get faster, it really comes down to who you're surrounding yourself with too. Like if
Mm.
you have like friend group that you like to run with and say you're all around the same pace,
Mm-hmm.
you might run practice races and stuff and you're like, "Oh, I'm winning, like my pace is really great." And then all of a sudden you get into like a top split race or a higher split race than
Yeah.
you're used to that you and your friends might be in. And then you're like, "Wait, what is happening? Like where is all this pace coming from?"
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I definitely learned like pretty early on in GT7 too is like
Mm-hmm.
the more you surround yourself with like faster people, like the more you'll learn from them too. And it's really about surrounding yourself with people who you know aspire to be like or you know whatever. Like I feel like a lot of people in sim racing are like super friendly, super welcoming. So like
Yeah.
half the time if you're like, "Hey, do you mind if I like run with you?" or like even endurance races, there's always people looking for more people for their team so we can like
Yeah.
break up the times and the stints. So like even if you're just jumping into an endurance, like maybe you're not the fastest, but if you can be consistent, even
Mm-hmm.
just doing that endurance with that team is going to teach you so much
I
about
feel
like
that.
pace and everything. So it's definitely worth it and surround yourself with people who you want to be
Yeah,
like.
with good people. Not like good, like
Yeah.
skillful, but also good vibes people. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like that's like the biggest thing, right? Like, I mean, even with like the Red Bull program, like with the six of us like together, we've all really like become friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's like something that's like so major too. Like if you really have that good like camaraderie with like other friends and like other people that you're running with, like A, you're not going to be offended if they tell you like, "Hey, you really suck at that corner."
Mm-hmm.
Because you also know they're going to give you the pointers to like help
Yeah.
you out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's definitely something that like we've done too. And like the program is like we all push each other. We all like share knowledge. I know like there's a couple of us that are like prepping for the screen to speed stuff. So like we're
Mm-hmm.
planning like practice times, we're comparing our lap times, we're coming up with strategies. So it's like it really helps to have a group of people that you can prep with and that you
Yeah.
can also trust to like call you out on your bullshit essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true. So for my 6 hours of the Glen, I did 6 hours of the Glen like last
Nice.
weekend with my friend.
Yeah.
So my friend is basically like a 5K iRating driver, but
Nice.
I drag him down into my split basically. And I was like, okay, but I saw like what he did on the race. Like he made everything looks easy, and that really teach me like, oh, that's how you do it. That's how you send it. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Like, huh,
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot from this guy. Like, yes, I learn a lot.
Yeah, and like even with the endurance racing, like you're spotting your other drivers too. So like if you're
That
spotting somebody, you can literally be watching how they approach the entire race. There's just so much knowledge there to just
yeah, yeah, yeah.
absorb.
And I like being in a circle where I feel like, okay, I'm the dumbest person in this group, instead of like being like, oh yeah, I'm the best driver, the fastest driver among all my friends. I don't want
Yeah.
that, because if I feel like I'm the smartest or the fastest drivers in the group, I feel like, okay, then there's no point for me to, not like there's no point, but okay, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna learn anything more, because I feel like I reached this level and everybody is like not there yet. So I will like throw myself into the group of people like who makes me feel like I'm so freaking dumb in this thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like it really just does come down to that. I mean, like, and it's not that
Yeah.
you like you said, it's not that you can't be with other people and like race with
No.
people that are like lower than you. Like obviously you can do that and you can be
Mm-hmm.
that person who is also helping them expand their knowledge.
Yeah.
But then there's also a time and place, right? So like you have to make sure that you're able to prioritize like your own learning and your own training while
Mm-hmm.
also giving back to your other friends and like
Yeah.
even just like vibing and just doing like fun races where you just don't give a shit what your lap time is
Mm-hmm.
or what
Mm-hmm.
your finishing is and you're just throwing the car around just for fun.
Just
Like,
for fun.
because
Yeah.
I've certainly done that too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's why I
Yeah.
was like planning to have this practice session between us, like all of us, the
Yeah.
girls. So like
Yeah.
just to practice, basically to practice to gain the trust between you and other drivers on the track. Like how close do you want it to be in this car,
Hmm.
with this car, at this track. So that's
Yeah.
why I'm like, the more the merrier. Just invite everyone. I will invite people in my
Yeah.
community, in it community, everybody just join. Give us the worst traffic ever in this track.
Yeah,
So
honestly, like dive bomb me in a T1. Try
yeah.
it. Like I want
Mm-hmm.
to figure out how to get around that. Like
Yeah.
like that's
Exactly.
all it is.
Please bully us, like bully us, so we know what to do on the track,
Yeah.
on the race.
Yeah.
Like yeah, because training by yourself, after all, is, I'm not saying training in solo session is useless, but it's different when you have other people on the track. Like, oh, you see your, for example, like me seeing your lap time. Oh, you're on top of the leaderboard. Okay, I see. Let's see where I can push. Like, so
Yeah.
all of us can like motivate each other. I think
Hmm.
that's very important. I've been training by myself all this time. Just lately, I become more social. Like, oh, let's practice. Let's this. Dive from
Yeah.
Artemis if in the same split. The number of times I called Arte out for her on her bullshit. Seb is such a bully today. What?
That's okay. That's that's why he's a homie.
Yeah, he's okay. Pepsi Man is our homie. So
Yeah.
Pep, when will you start training me to become a better driver, Seb?
Yeah, for real.
And by the way, Artemis, is there any race that you will never forget? The most memorable one in any sim?
Honestly, I would have to say it was that Rock the Rig race
Mm-hmm.
because it's literally the most panicked I have ever felt prior to a race. Like the amount of adrenaline coursing through my veins was probably like I don't even want to know. Like it was crazy. Like I have done a lot of races. I've done a lot of GT7 like World Series races and like things where it's like, oh, it really matters. This is like crunch time, but like that was just like a different level because I wanted it so bad and I
Mm-hmm.
wanted it to go well so bad. I know
Mm-hmm.
like I was talking to Seb I think like right before the race and I was just like, dude, like I'm freaking out. I'm tweaking. Like and
Oh
my hands were shaking and then like after the race they were still shaking and I was like, oh god,
no.
I gotta get out of the rig. Like this is bad.
Take a breath.
Yeah,
I'll be
like
like
I
that. Like,
just like had to disconnect from it for a little while and then I also like I like to like, sit there and really pick apart my
mm-hmm.
performances too, especially if it's not something that's like up to my par. So like afterwards I was just watching the broadcast back and
Mm-hmm.
just like watching it and just being like, wow, why did I do that? That was stupid. Like
Yeah,
literally I made the dumbest
I'm like that too.
decision and that's why I spun. Like I was getting too impatient and I'm like, no, like patience really is a virtue in racing and you have to like hammer that into your head. Like
Yeah.
the time will come when the perfect opportunity lines up for you to overtake
Mm-hmm.
and then you just have to know when it is to push and to get that. I was
Mm.
like way too freaked out and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna keep pushing and get more
Keep
positions and then
pushing,
I just
Sunday.
did a dumb and off into the gravel I went. But in hindsight, I literally could have waited like two corners and I probably would have had a better opportunity.
Yeah.
But I
You
made the
learn.
choice and I
Yeah.
had to sit with it. So
Yeah, you made the choice and you learn from that, and that's the most
yeah.
important thing, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's like there obviously you're going to have good and bad performances, but honestly,
Yeah.
you wouldn't be able to appreciate the good performances if you didn't have the bad ones, and you also wouldn't
True.
learn as much if you didn't have the bad ones if you were always doing the good ones. So,
Yeah. True.
yeah.
True.
Silver lining.
It's not bad to learn the hard way sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Yes,
Sometimes you need it
sometimes.
for humbling too.
Yeah, for humbling. Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I
thinking
mean,
you're on top of the world and then you just screw up a race so bad it's like, dang.
even the pro
Gotta take a
drivers
step
still
back.
made a mistake. So,
Yeah.
like every time I make a mistake, I'll be like, oh well. I remember some pro also made a mistake, Sap.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other thing too is like a lot of people don't realize it's like when you're watching pros race, 99% of the time during that race that you think was flawless on the outside, like they know probably at least six different things they did they don't like and that they want to improve upon. And it's just that once you get to that pro level, it's like those little minor mistakes and things, like it's so minor that it's hard for you to see it unless you have like your eye like trained to seeing it from the outside. But then like when you're at that pro level, it's those little mistakes that can decide championships, that can decide like
Yeah.
everything. So it's like, yeah, it's really difficult. It's easier when we're in the lower split because you see somebody like spinning off into the distance and you're
And you
like,
take
dang,
it.
that sucks. And then you look at that and then next lap you spin too because you're thinking
Yeah.
about it. But like,
That
but yeah,
happened
like
to
once you
me.
get like higher level, it's very, very much like nitpicky and like looking at every little thing, making
Yeah.
sure you're on point all the time. Yeah.
So what I real not like what I realized, but what I found out. So I had this chat while I'm doing this 6 hours race with this high editing guy. So I was asking him
Hmm.
like, how does it feel racing in top split? So he just answered like, basically it's like everybody can read everybody's mind. So driving or where to brake, how to drive your car, how is the tires is not really a big issue anymore. You put that on the side and you're focusing on driving and everybody can read your move and you have to read your move. And it's
Yeah.
more like, oh, I was like, oh, that sounds very, very tiring. Well, in my split or like, yeah, in most people's split, I must say, we're focusing like, okay, we push and then people made a mistake, you grab the freebie, you keep the car on the track. But in
Yeah.
higher level, that's not how it works, basically. Like, wow.
Yeah, it's like a lot more like I feel like, and not to oversimplify things or make lower splits sound like they're less
Yeah.
than because they're not. It's
Mm-hmm.
a really great place to learn.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like in the lower splits, it's almost like you're playing checkers, whereas in the higher splits, you're playing chess. Like it's a whole different level. There's a lot more going on. There's a lot more mental games going on.
Yeah.
And things like that. Whereas in the lower levels, like you're still learning how to handle the car. You're still taking advantage of major mistakes that do not happen in the higher splits. So yeah, there's definitely like that whole mindset change that happens once you get into those higher level
Mm-hmm.
lobbies too.
Yeah, I'm still on my way to get there. Like, there's still a lot to learn. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, there's still a lot. But
Oh,
I'm
and there's
split.
always gonna be more too.
Yeah, I mean, after all, we're kind of new. I mean, compared
Yeah.
to some pro drivers, they've been doing karting since early age. They've been sim racing for, I don't know, 10 years, 20. So this is my
Yeah.
second year, and why am I putting so much pressure on myself? Why not having fun? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
you
like,
know.
I feel like there's like that healthy balance. Like, if you really want to like get up into those higher splits and be like in those major series and things like that, like you do need to put the pressure on yourself. You need to be the person
Yeah.
that's pushing yourself to train and get better. But then you also have to have that balance where you're still finding enjoyment in it too. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you get to the higher level and you're like miserable, then like what's the
What's the
point?
point?
Like you
Right.
still have to have that balance. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I have to remind myself that all the time because I'm just like I get frustrated if I can't like if I'm on iRacing and I want to try out like the Porsche car or something, and I'm like trying to do Porsche Cup stuff, and I'm like, wow, I really suck at this car. Why can't I do this? And I'm like, looking at like how Sebastian Job approached his races, and I'm like, dang, he makes it look so easy. And I'm like, yeah, well, he also has like 10 plus years of experience in his
Yeah.
back pocket. So
Mm-hmm.
like I have to remind myself that from time to time where it's like I'm just getting started. Like I've only been doing this for 2 years, and iRacing I think I have maybe 6 months. Like
Yeah, not even a
so
year. Yeah, but
yeah, so like I'm like in the grand scheme of things, I'm in a great position where I'm at, but like sometimes it's like it's really hard to like not compare yourself to other people that, you
yeah,
look up to. So,
true, true. There's no such thing as perfect race. There's no such thing as a perfect lap. The fewer mistakes you make, the better you will be as a racer. So yeah,
yeah.
don't make a mistakes. Like, as long no walls, no grass, and you're good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean like it's really like learning is about how you approach your mistakes too. Like that's the other thing is like if you're going to sit there and just constantly beat yourself up over a mistake, that's not productive.
Yeah.
Like if what's being productive is like if you're really frustrated, take a step back, cool down for a bit, come back to it later and try and watch a replay. Try and see like okay, well what inputs was I doing? What could I change? And then it also helps to have like especially in iRacing at least a basic fundamental knowledge of like how like car mechanics work because like say you're like I don't understand why I'm getting so much oversteer into this corner. But then if you're watching the replay back and you notice that you're overloading the suspension, then it's like, oh, okay, well, that's where that's coming from. So maybe you're not braking enough and you're trying to carry too much speed through the corner. Like it opens a whole new world of possibilities that you can like look through and just be like, okay, I could try this, I could try that, see what works, see what
Yeah.
doesn't, and yeah.
Yeah, true. And it's all about perspective. Yeah, sometimes it's about perspective. And yeah,
Yeah.
again, like I feel like lately people, not like people, including me also, like too busy trying to chase the other thing. Like I want to win, I want to this, I want to that. But
Yeah.
sometimes I forgot that you're here to have fun in the first
Yeah.
place. Else, you're here to escape
Yeah.
from your day job, the
Yeah.
busyness, the stressful. You want to sit in the rig and to have fun. Why are you stressing yourself with this editing? Because in the end,
Yeah.
as the screen to speed champion said, like editing is a number. It's a
Yeah.
digital number. It's not real. You're not going out at the restaurant to the restaurant and take out your editing. Not like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, what are you stressing out about that? And sometimes I'm like,
Yeah.
it's a self reminder for myself. Like, you know what? Take it easy sometimes. If you made a mistake, it's fine. It's fine. People make mistakes in the end, and you learn from your mistakes. So yeah. So that's why,
Yeah.
Sap, I will keep on making mistakes so I can learn more.
Yes. Yeah. And
Yes,
definitely
that's the spirit.
not bashing your head against the wall when you're like frustrated. Like because I get into those mindsets and I'm like, nah, it's time to get out of the rig. I need to get a drink of water, something. I like that's part of the reason why too, like I stepped back yesterday because I was practicing for this weekend on Jeddah and I was like, I know I have like at least 3 tenths to find in this one corner. And I kept doing it and I was doing the same thing over and over and over again. I'm like, I need to take a break and step back and like reset my muscle memory from whatever mistake that I made that is now instant muscle memory that I need to get rid of. So I took a step back. I like walked around, got a glass of water, was looking at some of the telemetry, and then I was like, all right, well, I'll try again tomorrow kind of thing. Because at the end of the day, you're also not going to find your best race pace. You're not going to find your best strategy. It's not going to happen in one night. It's not going to happen in one sitting. So you really have to like be honest with yourself and know when the best time is to like step back and reevaluate and then come back at it in a better mindset.
Yeah, I think that's also a reminder for myself because when I feel burnout, I ignore that feeling
Yeah.
kind of thing. Like I keep on pushing. I know the result is not gonna be maximal. Like
Yeah.
it's not gonna be a great result, but in my head, I feel like okay, it's like I'm tricking my head. Like okay, at least
Yeah.
I'm doing something today. Although that okay, it's not the very best, but at least I'm trying. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah. And everybody has their off days too. So like I know I've had days
yeah.
where I'm like, I don't know where my pace went. It just disappeared into thin air. That's awesome. And like I get so frustrated, but I'm like, no, like everybody has days where they're like that. And especially if you're in that phase of like learning and you're still getting used to things and like working up to those higher levels, like you really have to like know when to be able to give yourself like some grace with all of that and like be able to handle it that way.
Yeah. That's a reminder for myself. It's a great talk, by the way, today, Artemis. Oh my god, I'm super happy we're like vibing here. Like, I learned a
Yeah.
lot from you today. Like,
Here for the vibes.
yeah, here for the vibes, here for the fun. And guys, so basically, tomorrow we'll be practicing together. Me. So basically, I invited Artemis, Jamie Drive, Kila Cleo, Sierra. Who else in the group? I think there were like 5 of us.
Yeah, there was
So
like 5 of us total
yeah, five
so
of
far.
us so far. But don't worry, anyone here in the community can join our practice session. So we'll be practicing tomorrow for the first round of Sprint to Speed Summer Cup F4 at Road Atlanta. I don't know anything about the track. I haven't watched any tutorial. So tomorrow I'll be practicing together and see maybe Artemis can give me a little track guide and all the girls. Sierra will
Sure.
also join, but Sierra is more like an oval driver. So it's a big step for her, like from oval moving to F4 car, and she said like she's down to join the screen to speed. I'm like
Yeah.
super happy, like happy to take her back to the road racing because she's an oval driver. Like you know what, we need to convert you into a road driver once in a while. Like yes.
Yeah. I will say for tomorrow, I haven't tried the F4 car on iRacing at all. So
Oh my god, it's going
I'll
to
be
be
learning on the fly, so it's fine. But
I think
you
you will
know.
have tons of fun. F4 is super fun to
Oh,
drive.
I am just literally gonna show up and just be having fun, getting the weekend started. Like it's gonna be a
Mm-hmm.
whole vibe.
Vibing, just chilling with the community. Everyone can join in this chat and also in INIT Discord. I will ping everyone. Like if you wanna join for some fun, come join. Give us some traffic. Bully us into the turn one because yeah, Gobi, come join tomorrow. Please, please, please come drive with me.
And if I go driving off of the first corner because I overshot it, just don't even look at me. It's fine. Just pretend nothing happened. You saw nothing.
Nothing.
It's fine. Like,
Nothing. Nothing. So I need tips for Road Atlanta because you told us that is like one of your favorite track, right?
yeah, it's definitely something. I mean, I've raced it a lot in like Group 3 cars, but I haven't really, as of recently, I should say, I haven't really raced it. But it's definitely like it's a track where it's not too short, but it's not too long. I feel like it's like the perfect length. And
Mm.
it's just like got a lot of like really great corners. I love the S's. You can pretty much take them flat out if you like hit it just right.
Mm-hmm.
But it still has that challenge, right? Like the first corner is pretty high speed. And then there's also like that
Mm.
uphill left after the S's.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then there's the chicane at the end where if you don't hit that right, then you're like killing your speed for the front straight. So it's really
Mm.
like it's a really good track for getting used to a variety of different corner types and like getting consistent with it.
Mm.
There's also a lot of blind corners,
Yeah, I was
so
about to say that. I was about to
yeah,
say that. Like,
yeah.
there's a lot of blind corners. But I saw some streamers. I don't know if you know, like Rudy School, Elgato, Conla Pipa, like those.
They sound familiar, but I don't
Yeah, they used to
always
stream
see it.
like late at night. It's gonna be like after
Gotcha.
12 for you,
Oh,
but
yeah, that's probably
they
why.
they do a lot of drive like back in the day when I was like watching them like doing F4 and then Road Atlanta. It looks crazy in open
Yeah.
wheel, like
Yeah.
wow. So I really hope everybody will survive, everybody will have a good time in the first round of the Sprint to Speed, like finger crossed. And the
Yeah.
most important thing is I really want to get into this league race so I can practice driving
Yeah.
the open wheel because I don't know when was the last time I'm racing in F4 in officials.
Yeah.
Like, and funny thing, I was the one who recommend to the team, like, you know what, let's do F4. And now I'm the one who got the panic attack. Oh shit, how do I drive this car? Man!
Yeah, open wheels can be very chaotic, but it's also super fun. It's so worth. But I mean, and even with Road Atlanta, I feel like it's also been super chaotic with Group 3s, so like
Yeah, it
it's
is.
fine. Like it's just chaotic, but chaotic good, I would
Chaotic
say.
is good for practicing. So, you know, the more chaotic, the more you learn. Remember?
Yeah.
The poker streamer. Oh, wait, he's a poker streamer now.
Reva.
He's an iRacing streamer, Reva. Oh my god, Chucky Milk. Oh my god, that's so cute. A really
Hi,
big
deadline.
deadline. Hi, welcome to INIT Talks. I'm having a chat with Artemis. It's been a great talk. Oh my god, I love her so much. Love her so much. I learned a lot from her. Speaking about the F1 game and everything. Also iRacing, telemetry. Well, basically a lot, a lot, a lot. But don't worry, if you guys just join, you can watch the VOD later in our Twitch, or you can follow us on social media at INIT Esports to see the clip from this interview. Yay! And also you can follow us on Screen to Speed on Instagram if you guys want to keep up with the race schedule and everything, because we are having a lot of event this summer. We'll be racing in F1 games, in iRacing, and also in Gran Turismo. But the Gran Turismo is
Yeah.
like a lot later in August.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still gonna be a whole lot of fun, a whole lot of racing.
Mm-hmm,
I'm
mm-hmm.
super excited.
And the most important thing for me is like meeting another girls because
Yeah.
when I was started sim racing, I was the only one, the only girl from my country who's into sim racing. The rest is all the boys. Like, okay, I understand this is a male dominated industry, but I don't care. I will keep on doing it. And along the way, I started to find a lot of girls in this community, which I will keep them forever, like forever and ever, because it's hard to find a girls that really want to improve or who really want to
Yeah.
go fast. Or I'm not saying
Yeah.
like the girls are not good enough to drive, but it's just hard to find because I completely understand this is a male dominated hobby, I must say. So, like when you
Yeah, I mean, like, even racing in general, right, is like a
yeah.
male-dominated field. So, like, there's that intimidation factor to it. And that's regardless of whether or not the guys themselves are actually intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
Because most of them, like, I have literally met so many amazing people, guys and girls,
Yeah.
through sim racing. I mean, I know I met Alu Gobi at PRI when
Oh.
I was at the PRI Esports arena, so that was really awesome. But like even then, like I got to be there, and like me and Alu were the only two girls that were there, as far as I know of, at least competing in like the actual race that they were doing there,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and
Oh, you met
it
her.
was
I didn't
just
know Gobi was there.
yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So like and that was super awesome. Like I really got to talk to like everybody, and like a lot of them were like high level ACC players where I was like, haha, I've been here for 2 weeks. I've been practicing and I am just praying to survive the race and not take anybody else out. But like it was really great because I really got to talk to everybody and like
Mm-hmm.
pick their brains on like how they prepare and like
Yeah.
different like things and resources they turn to for ACC. And honestly, I would say that like 9 times out of 10, any of the guys that I've met through sim racing have been very helpful, and they have not been any type of way where it's like talking down on you or looking down on you because like, oh well, you're a girl and you're not as fast. Like no, if
Yeah.
anything, the experiences that I've had is like they want to help as many other people become fast sim racers if that's what they want. They don't care if you're a girl, if you're a guy, whatever it is.
Yeah, or if you're an
Um,
elephant, they don't care. If they want to
yeah,
help.
exactly. They're just like,
Like,
listen,
yeah.
if you can drive and you will have the drive to learn, then like say less.
Mm-hmm,
We're
mm-hmm.
there. We'll help you. And like I still talk to some of them that I've met at the esports arena, and it's been great. I found like a whole new group of friends that I can
Mm-hmm.
run endurance races with and like learn from. So yeah, it's really
Yeah.
awesome.
Alu Gobi taught me about listen to the tires. I remember
Yes.
few years ago in Sprint to Speed Las Vegas. So I was having a chat and a drink after the event with her, and so we're just having a chat like, oh yeah, how do you get better? How do you like improve in ACC in iRacing? And she's the one who told me like, yeah, you have to listen to the tires. You need to
Yeah.
hear this exact sound to blah blah blah, and I applied that until today. Gobi, thanks to you for giving me that little tips. It's not much, but it really made a big difference in my driving. So thank you so much. Gobi is amazing. She's the
Yeah.
pro ACC. So when I
Dude,
first,
she's so fast. I was like,
yeah, she is.
yeah, like I was racing at like the esports arena and I was like, dang, I was like, look at her go. I was like, heck yeah. I'm like rooting for her while I'm just trying to keep it on track. And I was like, go.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, it was awesome.
I look up to her when I first started doing sim racing in ACC, like
Yeah.
2021, 2021, 2022. Like, I look up to her. She was in pro class. I was in pro AM class, basically. So
Hmm.
she always starts at the front, like, wow, very front. I'm like mid, more to the back. Not very back, but pretty much in the mid. And I just saw
Yeah.
her name like on top of the standings, always like, wow, she's amazing. And to be able to be her friends or to call her my good friends in sim racing is just amazing, Gobi. Love
Yeah.
you so much. And I'm really looking forward to meet you again. And fifth pin,
Woohoo.
by the way, did you move your setup? No, this is my desk setup. I told you guys last night that I built a second setup, right? For some casual thing. So this is the casual setup, and my sim racing setup is right over there. So I have two setup now, and I'm on my way to build my second sim racing setup. So I will have
Yeah.
three setup.
All the racing.
GG. Sim racing and real racing is for everyone. Yeah, everybody, every
Yes.
hobby is for everyone, in my opinion. Like, if you're a boy, you like makeup, do it. If you're a girl, you
Yeah.
like cars, do it.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
I feel like there's too many people that like that think that other people are like super like judgmental or like they're super worried about like how others are like perceiving them, but like
Mm.
in reality like everybody's just out here trying to find like what they want to do, just
Yeah.
trying to find hobbies. Like it's really not that bad. And like honestly, if there are a couple of people that like make comments or whatever, like you just have to like get into like that mindset of just brushing it off because like
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how many people I've had come into my stream while I'm streaming and they're like, oh, what are you doing? Like, you don't know how to drive, this, that, and
Yeah.
whatever, trying to be like a backseat driver. And I'm like, dude, like, I didn't ask, first of all. And second of all, I'm just here for my hobby. Like,
Yeah.
and it is what it is. Like, you don't have to be the best of the best to like have that respect. Like, everybody should just respect each other the way
Yeah.
it is.
It is. And do you do you do you like, I don't know, receive like a lot of negative chat, negative comment on socials, on Twitch, when you're
To be
streaming?
honest, like on my socials themselves, I haven't really had any issues. Like Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is, like I don't have any issues with negative comments. If I did, I would just remove them, but I haven't
Mm-hmm.
really had an issue with that. But on Twitch, on the other hand,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say it's all the time. Like it doesn't even happen every time I stream, but like there have been a handful of incidents where people have just come into chat and just like start saying stuff or just be insulting, and I'm like, how
Yeah.
unhappy do you have to be internally to like try and ruin somebody else's joy? And that's, my shout out to my mods that are always in my chat, because
Yeah.
half the time they delete the message before I can even read it, which
Uh,
really helps because it doesn't even
yeah.
get me in a mood.
Shout out
Um,
to everyone
yeah.
who helped us when we're streaming, not just me, but Artemis and everyone streaming for helping us like deleting those comments so we can keep the good vibes up, Thank you very much. Like really. Like yeah, I receive some kind of negative comments sometimes, like especially last month. I feel like May is like the most dramatic month for me. Like a lot of things just happen and blah blah blah. Like
Yeah.
I receive a lot of negative comment, especially like when one of my posts is like hit the algorithm, and like I got this almost 1 million view, something like that, and people
Hmm.
will like just finding a reason to say something bad. But it really taught me something, like if you don't want to receive a negative comment, don't play social media. I think that's what I learned
Yeah, honestly,
in
like
life.
it really
Yeah.
comes down to like you just have to know that like if you're streaming, if you're posting on social media, like you can't really control what other people are going to say. You
Mm-hmm.
can't control how they're going to react to your content. And all you can do is control how you react to it. So,
Yeah.
if somebody says something negative, you don't have to let it bother you. You could just delete that comment. You
Or
could,
you can just ignore
whatever
it.
it is. If you're on live stream, if you would rather have your mods delete it, that's fine. If you're the kind of person where you're feeling in a spicy mood and you want to say something back, whatever it is. Like I fully support people who want to stand up for themselves as long as they're being still respectful, because you don't
Yeah.
want to stoop to their level either. That's not really accomplishing anything.
Mm-hmm. True.
But you also don't want them to just like be running rampant in your chat and just saying whatever. Like you kind of got to make it
Yeah.
known that like you're not going to tolerate that. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
True. True. You cannot. Well, Ninja, honestly, yeah, just like Artemis said, like you cannot control people. Like
Yeah.
for me, if I found some content that I find it cringe or I don't like it, I just skip it. But for some people,
Yeah.
people have enough time to put on comments, something like that, which also fine. Like like we handle things differently. Like yeah, like if I don't like something, I'll just skip it, or I just unfollow if I don't like it. But yeah, that's alright.
Yeah,
People
I mean
have
that's what
different.
I do for the most part, like out of sight, out of mind, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm,
But,
mm-hmm.
there's also been a couple of instances where people have said some really really rude things in like Twitch chats where I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to make an example of them and hope they can learn from it.
Yeah.
Obviously in a respectful sense, but I just like sit there and I'm like, listen, it's not allowed here. If you're going to continue, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah.
continue somewhere else. Don't continue here
Not
because it's
here.
not welcome here.
Mm-hmm.
So,
True.
yeah.
All right, Artemis. So it's been nice talking with you. Really, it's been really
Yeah.
nice chatting with you. Thank you very much for
Thanks for
today.
having me on. It's super
I mean,
fun.
of course. I mean, I did my best to make this happen for you, because I've been wanting to have you here, and I realized like, oh yeah, she was busy with moving. I think. Oh yeah, she was this, she was
Yeah.
that, and then like I was brave enough to text you like, "Hi Artemis, do you want to be the guest of INIT Talks?"
Yeah. Dude, like honestly, my DMs are open. Like if anybody has any sim racing questions, anything, like please message me. I will get back to you eventually.
Mm-hmm.
I also tend to be pretty busy at work, so if I'm at work, it might not be right away, but I definitely like to be able to share the knowledge that I have with the community because it's how I got started. People shared their knowledge with me, so it's like my way of giving back. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. And yeah, as Chi said earlier, you are hella smart, and you when you said like you didn't have any experience in iRacing back in December last year, don't worry. To me, you are perfectly fine. Like I had a good battle with you. I had fun with you. You didn't look like you just started iRacing back then. So, oh my god, I'm really looking forward to race with you again in
Yes,
iRacing.
absolutely.
Um, in F1, I don't think we'll be actually having a battle in the first round at least. But in iRacing, I'm pretty sure we will have tons of fun.
Yeah. Yes, for sure.
Yeah. And what's your ultimate goal in sim racing?
I mean, I feel like it's kind of cliche, but
Mm-hmm.
obviously, like, most people say they are in the sim because they want to get into like an actual seat and get some like real world seat time. So that's
Mm-hmm.
definitely a goal. But I also like have other goals that are like specific to sim racing that I would like to do while, I'm still in the sim.
Mm-hmm.
So working with Red Bull, I definitely want to make the most of that opportunity and see where that can take me through 2025. So
Mm-hmm.
that's really exciting. And, just taking the opportunities to hopefully get some steps into some bigger series, some more legit series, maybe some with some cash prizes. I wouldn't mind that, but,
Yeah, yeah.
we'll see what happens. And yeah, just connecting with more people in the sim world is really the best thing, I would say.
Indy 500 winner 2025.
Listen,
Who
I'm not going to
knows?
tell you no, but I have to try out some indie first.
Yeah. The Indy is so scary. I mean, I'm still thinking twice every time I want to throw myself into IndyCar race, bro. Like, really? Like,
Yeah. I know
I
the track,
know.
but the car, no, I have
No,
no idea. So that'll definitely take some time, but I'm not writing that one off. That's a possibility.
that's a possibility. Yep. And oh my god, Indy is the track that really humbled me. Like, really, like, that's
It's
crazy.
hard.
Yeah,
It doesn't
that
look like
oval
it
is
would
like,
be.
yeah,
Yeah,
crazy.
it's the re-entry and things back onto the like every just oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, Indy
It's a lot.
is a lot, and no, at least for me. Speaking about indie, I think I can do some IndyCar like casually, but at least for now, I don't see myself getting into a lot of IndyCar, especially the special events, simply because I don't have enough experience for that. I'm more like a
Yeah, I mean,
stock
it's
car,
definitely
I think.
something that you could like practice on the side while you still like your main cars that you're comfortable with, and like
Mm-hmm.
eventually when you're comfortable, jump into some races and stuff.
Yeah,
So,
true. Yeah, I'm
yeah.
just gonna stick with stock car, I think, for now in iRacing. Back in the day, I
Heck
used to
yeah.
be a GT3 girl, like driving a lot of GT3, and then I
Yeah.
moved to oval. I found my love, and it feels so rewarding if you know how to drive that stock cars in road course. Like,
Yeah.
dang, like
Hmm.
wow, I did this. I think when I was driving the NASCAR car in Watkins Glen and Sonoma, that was the moment where I said like, I did it. I did it.
Yeah.
Although the
And
result
you
is
need
not
moments
really
like
good.
that too to be able to like look back and be like, "Dang, I really did this." Like
Oh, yeah, you
it's
need
really a
that in your life.
motivator.
You need that in your life. Like, really, I feel
Yeah.
that. I feel that. Like, you really need that I did it moment in your life because I don't know, just to give yourself a little boost and appreciation to yourself. Like, you've
Yeah.
gone this far. You did it. GG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Waiting for the Formula L's era. Guess what? I'm competing in Screen to Speed Summer Cup. It's starting off
Yeah.
next week, and we'll be driving the F4 car. And we're adding a new track on the calendar. Normally, we are running like more like a free content in Screen to Speed because we want like everybody can join without having to think about buying the content. But I came up with idea like, why don't we give these girls some challenge, because we've been running like same tracks many times. So why don't we add new tracks, new car, open wheel? We never had this open wheel before. So why not? I'm like that. And
Yeah, I gotta keep
also,
it fresh.
yeah, I mean, you need that. I mean, if
Yeah.
you keep on driving like the same, and I don't know, I just want to give my girls like another, like something new, something fresh, a new challenge for some people, you
Yeah.
know. And also, I am working on making a streamers party like the one that we had in December, Artemis. So this is like the
Hmm.
streamers party by Sprint to Speed, and hopefully I can invite more real race car driver. So back in the day, we were
Yeah.
racing in Spa in December with Cybercook, with Kristen Matlock. She's like the Baja 500 drivers kind of thing. So I will try to
Hmm.
invite more race car driver into the grid so we can have some fun.
Yeah. Super fun.
Super fun. By the way, Artemis, thank you so much for today. By the way,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
I told you like it's gonna be an hour interview and we're almost two
And it's like
hours
only two.
now.
That's
Almost
okay.
two
I'm
hours.
chilling.
Yeah, thank you so much. Again, thank you so much. And I really hope
Thank you.
to see you tomorrow. Yeah,
Yeah.
practicing with us in Road Atlanta. Will you stream
Yeah.
tomorrow or not? Are you just
Um,
gonna?
we will see. Theoretically, I have everything set up to stream. But I
Mm-hmm.
also have not tried. I haven't. I don't really stream too often when I'm on iRacing
Mm-hmm.
and streaming at the same time because I only have one PC. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes my little potato computer is like trying its best to help me with iRacing, and then like it cannot handle the stream at the same time. But like it's fine. So I
I
don't
think
know. Well,
tomorrow is
I'll
a
probably do a
great,
test stream
yeah,
tomorrow at
for
some point,
testing.
and if it works, then yeah. If not, then I'll have to push it off. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So if anyone here wants to follow you on social media on Twitch, what's the username for Twitch first?
Yeah, so Twitch is still distinct underscore Artemis, but all of my other socials have been changing over. I'm in the process of doing a whole rebrand,
Oh.
as I have left my esports team with distinct as of like this past week. So
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
I'm like rebranding, refocusing on everything.
Oh.
So yeah, so I have everything getting set up. I'm going to be working on my Twitch hopefully this weekend so that all the social links and everything will be up to date because I know
Up
they're
to
very
date.
much out of date now.
Yeah,
But
so I'm looking
yeah.
forward to see you back on the game, back on track,
Yeah.
back streaming, and we really hope to see more content from your stream or whatever on your social media. Like there's
Yeah.
a lot of things that you can do in social media, and
Yeah.
I'm working as a content creator. So if you need some info, if you wanna, I don't know, some tips, something like that, please hit me
Yeah.
up. Like just shoot me a DM, and I will get back to you eventually.
Yeah,
Eventually.
sounds good.
Like both of us will be like, yeah, eventually we will reply.
Yeah. It's hard when you're like juggling so many things and like trying to be like your
Yes.
own boss kind of thing with certain things. It takes up so much time.
Yeah, you
So,
know what?
yeah.
Like when I first started like switching my career from beauty blogger into a gamer, a sim racer, all I think was, okay, I'm just gonna play games, hit the live button, play games,
Yeah.
having fun. But now, as the time goes by, my day is full of reading a contract, preparing like headshots, blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah. Like, why? I was like, why am I being the accountant, manager,
Yeah,
driver,
yeah. I think that's
talent?
like something that I kind of overestimated too. Like when I was getting into sim racing and like streaming, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna try this like Twitch thing and see what happens. Because like I've never streamed before. Like I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah,
And like I have watched some clips from like way back in the day, and let me tell you something, it was embarrassing. I was like, this is so bad, but also like it's exactly what I thought it would be as like a first time streamer who's A, not comfortable in front of a camera,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
not really comfortable with like a mic, the streaming stuff, like entertaining people while also like driving. Like it's a lot to handle. And you know,
Yes.
even with the content creation side of things, it's like, okay, yeah, you can pull content from the streams, but people don't see like how much time and effort goes into that too. So
Mm-hmm.
like even when people aren't live, like your favorite creators are doing a whole lot of work on that back end that
Yeah,
you don't see.
yeah, true.
So yeah.
Yeah. So for me, screaming cheese, sup everyone. So you know, like normally I will stream like 5 hours a day, like doing officials, practicing everything. So I put
Yeah.
like all the time for me practicing when I'm streaming because I don't have time to do it like outside the
Yeah.
stream, honestly. And
Yeah.
after that 5 hour stream, I had to clipping any clips that I can, I don't know, make it something fun, post it to
Hmm.
social and do it repeat. And
Yeah.
taking care of the brand like INIT Esports, Screen to Speed, Overtake GG, Elz Indriani, and
Yeah.
blah blah blah. I have like 4 sponsors and coming up soon, coming up. So it's more than just playing games, in my opinion. Like,
Yeah,
no.
you're really like running your own business basically. Like you are
Mhm.
the person like doing everything. It's like I feel like one of the biggest thing that I've seen is like somebody had said that like streaming, like if you're a streamer and you want to be a content creator, like streaming should be only like maximum 30% of your time and
Yeah.
70% of your time should be spent like creating that content to post, managing your brand, like all those other really important things.
Mm-hmm.
Because like especially if you want to grow your stream and grow yourself as like a content creator, like you really need to put the time into the things that like a stream is only like live and the VOD's only up for a certain amount of time. Whereas like the content that you're pushing out to like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, the whole nine, like that stays there unless you delete it. So
Yeah.
that can really help bring the traction. So you just have to be like kind of smart with it and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, put all the pieces together the way that works for you.
Yeah, true. And we're saying it not because we're complaining about it like too many job, but just so you know, everyone, that's a lot.
Yeah.
But I love doing it. Like I love like building my own brand and also like building the brand that I'm working with. Like right now, I here in INIT Esports, I propose the idea of having this INIT Talks, streamers party, everything. So basically, like I want to give my girls a spotlight here in sim racing in the best way we can do, like, yeah,
Yeah.
in many ways. Because having this interview really helpful for some of the girls. Like, yeah, they never got interviewed before, like they got nervous,
Yeah.
but now they got the experience, they got the feeling of it, they got the clips out of it. Like, I'm happy in the end. Like, I'm
Yeah.
still doing the editing for here, for in it.
Yeah. No, it's huge. And I think that's like one of the other things that I noticed, like even with like the Red Bull program too, like when we did the media day, like it's like when you're a content creator, like it's really priceless being able to be comfortable in front of the camera because like say you're invited to a live event and you have to be interviewed. You're not as stressed out because you're like, oh, well, it's just like when I streamed. Oh, it's
True.
just like when I filmed this other thing, like even if you're just doing like YouTube or something. So it's like streaming and like content creating, it has a lot more skills that like really help you in your career beyond just learning how to drive
Yeah.
and being able to drive really well.
Mm-hmm.
That's certainly something that's like kind of like I feel like slips some people's mind. Then like when I showed up at Red Bull and they're like chasing us around with like a whole camera crew and doing like the whole like mic'd up for the interview, I was like, this is like kind of overwhelming, but also not the worst.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. True.
Yeah, but like, and I know like some of the other girls were a little bit more like overwhelmed by it because like they had either not been streaming for very long or
Mm-hmm.
just hadn't streamed at all. And like, if a team's gonna pick you up, they're also looking at you as like, okay, you're also a media asset,
True.
right? So like
Mm-hmm.
if you're helping them create that brand and really like help with their message and be able to communicate like about the races and stuff, like that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, it's well, as a sim racer creator, it's important to know how to drive, but it's also important to build your image, to build your brand on social media. It's a free tools for everyone, so you can post anything you want related to your hobby, your gaming. In this case,
yeah.
we're talking about sim racing, so yeah, it's a free tools for everyone. So it's a great way to introduce yourself to a bigger audience, because even if you're a streamer, you're just streaming, you still need to post an update like, hey, I'm going live, hey, I'm this, I'm that.
Yeah.
Otherwise you won't get new audience, new people watching your stream. So yeah, it's building your persona is important. Well, speaking, if you wanna be a content creator, if you wanna get a sponsorship, if you want people to notice you, to know that you exist in this world, yes, you have to do that kind of promotion. But if you're here just to having fun, then yeah, you can like that. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that much job, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, it really depends on like your long-term goals. You just have to like
Mm.
like whatever your plans are, you have to orient towards like your goals. So like if you're planning on getting like a certain like brand deal or sponsorship, then maybe you want to chase after certain metrics or like be able to show yourself in like the way that they want their product shown or things like that. Whereas like if you're like working with a team, it's really important to have like that good reputation while
Yeah.
also being able to communicate really well, work with other people really well because you want to be able to like mesh into that team. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
true. That's true. You need a little ego to be a content creator, to be successful. A little ego to be a content creator, to be successful? What do you mean by that, by the way, Ninja? But,
I would agree to disagree, kind of. I don't know. I
mm-hmm.
feel like it works well for some people because it's like part of their persona, right? But then
Yeah.
there's also like people like I feel like with my streams, I really try to have a community and create that community where like people feel comfortable coming into chat and just like asking me anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like or watching me and being like, "Oh, well, why did you do this or why did you do that?" Like I'm more of like I want to be on the same level whereas like
Mm-hmm.
maybe some other people are like, "Oh, yeah, like this is just how I run things and it's a bit like higher level." So I don't know, it really depends.
Yeah, it
But
really depends. Some
yeah,
people
confidence is
streaming,
huge.
yeah.
That is definitely huge.
But honestly, streaming really helped me to boost my confidence. Like talking to new people.
Yes.
Like really,
Yeah.
it's more than you could ever imagine. Like,
Hmm.
yeah. It really like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel awkward. Like if I talk to people in real life for the first time, like I'll be like completely silenced. Like, mm, you know.
Yeah.
But on the stream, it's not like, well, you cannot do that. Well, you can if you want, but if you want people to be comfortable in your stream, in your chat, you have to talk with them eventually. And every
Yeah.
day, I feel like there's a lot of new people coming in, and yeah, it just really taught me like, okay, that's how you talk to people for the first time, and oh yeah, that's how you do it. You know, like, nah. So
Yeah,
yeah,
you find like your comfort with it and you just kind of like it becomes second nature almost. Like you don't really like think about it or like freak out anymore. You're just
yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, there's a new person in chat. Hey, how you doing?" Like, "Here I am. Here's the stream." Like
Like, yeah, yeah, enjoy. If I crash, I'm sorry. Yeah, what's up? You know, like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's fine.
Streaming makes me feel like I'm under a microscope.
I mean, that's how I felt when I was like in the beginning
Really?
too. I was like super worried about like everything. I was like, is the camera right? Is the lighting right? Does this look dumb? Does that look dumb? Like I was so freaked out about every little thing. But like to be honest, like when it comes to the streams and streaming, I feel like the biggest thing is just like connecting with your audience. Like your audience doesn't really, at the end of the day, like they don't really give a shit about all those little tiny details that you stress out
Oh,
about
yeah,
or
right.
the things that you think about. Like I've always said, like I'm my own worst critic. Like chances are somebody can't tell me something that I aren't already haven't like thought of
Mm-hmm.
or said to myself.
Yeah, I'm
So
also the
it's
biggest
like,
critic of
yeah,
myself.
it's I could definitely understand like that whole like being under a microscope feeling because I've been there. I've been there. But eventually I feel like that feeling kind of fades like when it's you get into that confidence level and you get into that comfort level of like streaming and everything and it's like you don't really think about it.
Mm-hmm. Viewers enjoy the mistakes more.
Yo, honestly, like some of my mistakes were like the most clipped things and like I still laugh about it to this day because I'm like, "You know what? Yeah, that was hilarious."
Yeah,
Like
yeah. You know what, Ninja? Sometimes I look into my phone. Sometimes I look into the clip that people made, and I laugh at myself. Like, oh my freaking god, why am I doing that? So it's an entertainment for everyone at this point. My mistake is more like an
yeah.
entertainment for everyone, and I'm happy after all if you guys coming to our stream, to my stream, Artemis stream, and you guys having a good fun. That's my success metric in streaming. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, if you guys enjoy it, then I'm doing the right thing. If you
Yeah.
guys doesn't feel comfortable stream watching my stream, then I don't know what maybe something's wrong with me. So you know, we are here to entertain you guys and you know to get better in sim racing, and hopefully we will see Artemis racing in top split in iRacing special event, made it to the
Hopefully.
broadcast maybe. How about
Imagine I would probably be freaking out full of anxiety, but it's fine.
that? Yeah, I mean, you got the potential to get there. In my opinion, you got the
Hopefully,
potential.
I think so. It's just like right now I gotta find the time
Mm-hmm.
and like really put in all of those hours because it really does come down to like seat time and
Yeah,
being
true.
super like efficient with your training time.
Yeah, true. You can't be a professional streamer unless you forget to unmute your mic at least once.
Help, I
Well,
literally
I
do
did
that
that many
all the
times,
time.
all the time. What do you mean? All the time. Ask
No,
Rafa.
like I'll have it like my mic like muted, like when I have like my intro screen on, and then like as soon as I change it over, I'm just like, and they're like, your mic is muted. I'm like,
You're
dang
mute.
it,
You're
and I
muted.
gotta like say
Oh,
all of my stuff over again. It's so embarrassing, but like it's fine.
that happened to
At
me.
this point, I just laugh it off, and I'm like, haha, pro streamer. Anyway, like,
Yeah, pro AM streamer, whatever,
yeah.
My stream, my rules.
Exactly. Like we're just here for vibes, okay? I'm not an
We're here.
IT person. Like don't
Yeah.
expect like my streams to be flawless because they're never gonna be. And that's
Mm-hmm.
exactly how I like it.
Yeah, the more chaos, the more fun. I
Yeah.
see. I see. Hi, welcome to INIT Talks. Welcome. We're almost done here, but it's okay. You're still welcome here. Welcome in. Welcome to the 11th episode of INIT Talks with my dear friend Artemis. Oh my God, you miss a lot. I see. You miss a lot. So we were talking a lot about strategy, about race pace, quali pace, and some tips about driving in F1 in iRacing with Artemis. But don't worry if you miss it. I will post a clip on INIT Esports social media. So make sure to follow us on social media at INIT Esports so you can see the clip. I made the clip, so you should follow me on
Yeah.
INIT Esports. Not on my channel,
Honestly,
on
you should.
INIT Esports. Please respect
Both.
my work, guys. I'm doing a lot of work. Please follow me. Yeah, that's the sticker. The 15th June. June gave me the sticker Pro AM Streamer. That's me.
I love that. That's the best thing.
That's me. All right, Artemis, down to the last question before we end the
Okay.
stream today. So,
Yeah.
so what's your favorite track in real life and why? Your
Ooh. Um That's a hard one because I feel like I like so many different tracks and I don't want to like pick one that's super cliche either. I don't know. You know what? I would say probably Watkins Glen because
Ah.
Watkins Glen is technically driving distance from me. It's like in upstate New York.
oh,
Um, yeah, so that's pretty cool. And I just really enjoyed driving the track, honestly. Like I haven't driven it too much, but every time that I'm on it, I'm like, wait, I forgot this track existed and I really like driving it, so why don't I drive it more? But yeah, I've also had like a really fun ACC community race with SRO Motorsports Group.
Oh.
And they did it on that track and it was in the rain and it was chaotic, but it was so much fun. So I was like, yes, that's gotta be it.
So it's pretty close from where you live, Glenn.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I could also pick like the New Jersey Motorsports Park because it's like my most local racetrack. It's like 20 minutes from me.
Oh my God.
But there's not really any like major series there, but like I love going karting there. That's super fun.
Oh, nice, nice. So hopefully I will see you in September. I think I'm planning to go to the Glen, but for NASCAR. But it's a road course, so I will take you to the Glen. How about that? I will take you to the Glen.
Ooh. Yeah, if I can go, I will be there.
So I think
Yeah.
the NASCAR at the Glen should be like somewhere in like mid-September, something like that. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look. See if I can fit it into my
Take your
calendar.
mom also, please. She's a NASCAR
Yeah.
enjoyer. Please,
Yeah.
I need to know your mom so I can go to racetrack with her. No Artemis, just me and your mom.
Yeah. I'm out of the
Okay,
picture. It's just Elz and my mom. It's fine.
Family.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Adopt a
Family.
child. Adopt a child. Family. But seriously, I'll be coming to. So, guys, any of you guys, if you guys planning to come to NASCAR Chicago, to Bristol, and to Watkins Glen, let me know because I'll be there. I'll be there. That's the plan. I want to go to Bristol so bad.
Nice.
So, yeah, and the Glen. Hopefully, when I visit the Glen, I will get a chance to meet Artemis in person because she's amazing, and I would love to
Hopefully.
hang out with her, like hang out, like like I don't know, grab a drink if she's drinking. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm so down. And if you are interested, there is the PRI conference that's every single year, and I'm really, really hoping to be at that one again this year too. It's in December, so and it's like the biggest motorsports conference in like North America. It's so cool. I would definitely recommend anybody to go if they haven't been. Even as just like a spectator, just to walk around. Like literally last year, they had like so many different sims to try, and it was insane. So like, so
It's
much
in
fun.
December.
Yes,
Okay.
December.
And
I think it's towards the beginning of the month. if I'm remembering correctly, but I can't remember the dates off the top of my head. But it is in December.
Okay, I don't know yet because December is still far away. But if
Yeah.
I could make it, I will make it. If I got like
Heck
the
yeah.
traveling schedule that close enough. Where is it, by the way? New Jersey or?
No, it's actually in Illinois, I believe.
No way, Illinois. Oh my God,
Yeah.
I'm from Illinois originally.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna
I
have to visit
love
home.
Chicago. Yes, coming back home. So like, see, guys, I've been moving to California. I moved to California, but the Chicago keeps on calling me. Like,
Oh, Indiana.
oh,
I was
Indiana, close
mistaken.
enough.
Thank
It's
you,
okay.
Alec. Thank
Close.
you, Alec, for correcting me.
Close. It's
LOL,
just two
embarrassing.
and a half hours drive. It's okay. It's okay.
I mean, like, it started with an I. I was close,
Ah,
right? Like,
yeah, you're close
it's
enough.
fine. It's fine.
Illinois is right here. Indiana is like very here, so it's close enough.
It's close. I tried. Okay.
You're close to Illinois. Wait, where you live? Kobe, I apologize. Where you at, by the way, Jen? You're close to Illinois. Where you at? Iowa? I could have said Iowa. Oh my God. I drove past the Iowa. And hey, don't get me wrong. I keep on asking like people like what do we have in Iowa? People will say like I don't know, corn or something.
Yeah,
Like
something like that. It's
corn.
farmland.
Yeah. And I found the biggest truck museum in Iowa. Don't say that. Iowa is very cool. Oh wait, you're in Iowa? Oh my God, you should visit the truck museum. Okay, the truck museum. Like you have to visit. You have to visit truck museum, yo. It's so cool. Other than that, I don't know what to do in Iowa. Other than going to the museum and to Iowa Speedway, probably.
Oh my god.
Oh my God. That's why you're not on iRacing. Right, right. So you're on a trip, on a work trip, basically. Just like Aaron. Oh my God. At this point, I know your guys' activity. Like, I'm like the eye of God. Like, I know my community activity. The other guy in
She
Iowa.
is Life 360.
Like, I'm like the eye of God. Like, I know what you're doing, bro.
She's in the walls.
Oh yeah, she's in the walls. Okay, Artemis, she's looking at the telemetry app. Yeah, she's still like struggling to find the 310s. I know
Yep.
that.
I know, I'm struggling, man.
I always wanted a stalker. Well,
Oh,
honestly,
okay.
be careful for what you wish for.
Yeah, honestly.
Be careful.
I feel like that's a dangerous game, but you do you.
Yeah, okay, but I try to warn you by the way, Jin, from today. Okay, starting off today, I will keep on warning you. Like, be careful for what you wish for.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's 5 p.m. and I made a promise to my community that I will start the stream at 5.
Oh my goodness, you better go start that stream,
Yeah.
girl.
Oh my God,
I
don't
gotta
worry.
get myself some dinner. I have not
Yay.
eaten since getting home from work yet, so.
Oh my God, yes. Go grab your dinner. Again, thank you very much for your time
Thank you,
today.
thank you.
It's been really great, really fun. And yes,
Yeah.
we'll be working on the clips probably like tomorrow, starting off tomorrow. Like I'll be like posting it, and
Amazing.
I really hope that it will boost you to get on the content creator game. Like keep posting those
Yeah.
clips and everything like that. And I will see you on the track tomorrow and
Yeah.
Saturday. Gonna be my first F1 league ever. So
Yay! Yeah,
gonna
I'm
be
excited
fun.
to try out the cars and everything and race with all of you guys.
yeah. So by the way, I will see you tomorrow on the track and also well
good.
2 days in a row. Gonna be hanging with Artemis.
Woo!
Woohoo! And yes, Artemis, thank you so much. Big hug for you. Big hug. Oh my God, thank you so much for
Thank
today.
you for having me. Thanks, guys, for hanging out in the chat.
Yay!
Awesome.
And I will see you guys next week. So next week I'm planning to invite an IRL driver. That's the plan. So I need to
Ooh.
send an email proposal, blah blah blah. After
Yeah.
this, so and after that I will start the stream. I promise to you guys, I will start the stream on my channel, and I really hope I will be streaming on Elz Indriani instead of INIT Esports. Like imagine INIT Esports back live.
She'll be like, oops!
Oops. Just like me.
It happens. It's fine.
Just like
it's fine.
me, forgot to put the opening stream and.
Since Elz is late, you guys can blame me because I'm the one that held her up with the,
No, you're not.
the interview.
All right, Artemis, thank you so much. And again, I will see you next time. Bye bye.
Sounds good.
Chat, bye chat. Thank you so much for your time today, and we'll see you next week. Bye.